Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, July 5th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Excellent day yesterday, right across the board. Everybody was cashing. It could have been even better. I went 5-0 and left money on the table, leaving the Marlins and Rangers off. But very strong day across from everybody. Everybody was successful. Perfect way to celebrate July 4th. The best bet of all was Lamont Williams coming in, max betting the Pirates. That was unbelievable. And that saved me because I was interested in Emmett Sheehan and the Dodgers. And that was, we all have our best bets on the board, and they're not usually big dogs like that. That was just shout out to Lamont Williams. Lamont Williams has backed Pete and I since we started, since I started with Pete, because Pete's been in business way longer than I have. And so just, there's so many incredible cappers in our group, in our squad. One of them, TJ, who has the gift play today, 21-9, hitting at 70%, plus 11.93 units, ROI plus 36.5%, average line minus 104. Can't be with us on the show today, but he sent me in the gift to make sure you guys all know it. Look at Ron Crawford celebrating his 55th birthday yesterday, hands out a plus money winner on his spreadsheet play day. Ron Crawford now 28-21 on our show, 57.1%, plus 6.76 units, ROI plus 13.80%, average line minus 103. And Ron Crawford's never missed a show. Never missed a show. He's always given us his spreadsheet play day. Every single show that we've had, whether it's Betting with Bouquet or Peter Loshak show or Betting with the Bag. This is why we succeed. And I'm down 10 units on the year. I said to start this week, we said it before our Monday Night Live, I have to sweep the week. We went on Monday, barely, 3-2. We swept the board on Tuesday, 5-0. We must win today. Great to see all of you guys. Crypto-ish in the house. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play today is in. Interesting. Tampa Bay minus 1 plus 116. I came so close to moving on the Phillies. I didn't. I have a question mark right there beside it, but important to gather all this information. Very, very important to gather all of this information. James Blake, Justin McElvey. On Buxton over 1.5 bases at plus 108. You guys know I really need the Guardians to win that division with that plus 380 bet I have. That was a huge win for the Guardians over the Braves, but it's going to be raced down to the wire. Unfortunately, I've made some mistakes in the futures market, and that Guardians plus 380 will cover all of those. All right, I got that locked in. Justin McAfee, thank you for sharing that with us. Londo's Soroka had 4+ strikeouts, now in the win at plus 200. So I think he says he thinks Soroka is going to have a good day. A lot of question marks around Soroka. I don't know who he is anymore. And, he's from Calgary. He's a Calgary kid that we all cheer for up here. And I don't know. To see all those guys, Shaver and how many were picked over him? Dylan Dodd. There's so many. What's that lefty? What's that lefty's name? Okay, it's escaping me, but he was also sent down to the minors just a couple weeks ago. To see them all picked over, Soroka is a red flag. But, we've seen what he's capable of. Wine Time Sports in the house. A tough couple days for your Los Angeles Angels. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't help me because I've got your win total under. But tough. Well, I mean, part of the bet was that injuries would take place, but man, Shohei is coming off what's being called the best single month in the history of Major League Baseball. Unbelievable. Big O in the house, Chris K. Morgan Spooner, Rangers first 5 for Morgan Spooner, -0.5 at +115. I will copy and paste that so we can talk about that in the Rangers game. I know that I've been preaching how dangerous these bullpen days are for squads, but I wish I had the range. But let's not complain off a 5-0 day. But man, Big Ragoo, there he is in the house. He's going to be joining us here shortly. Welcome back. It's going to be great to have Big Ragoo rolling with us. North Ender says, let's fucking go. We dominated yesterday. Padres, Jays, Yanks, cashed my 3 bigger bets. Let's do it again. That's right, North Ender, Mike Guy. Mally Mellers, razor sharp picks in the house. Chris K says, wake up, get money. Troy Torrance, ready to get to work. Real Deal Prime Flea Mathis, ready to eat. Got a great group here. Nasty Nate in the house. Hipster Jesus. LJ from H-Town says, let's cash. Astros first 5. Joey Marinaccio. Is that Astros first 5 today, LJ? Let me know if that's today. Serious Business, ready to get to work. 1 of 1. Benny Peyton Weems says, Reds -120. He really likes the Reds -120. A capper who's been backing the Reds because I obviously track all these guys that do the show. Who's been backing the Reds from the get-go? Our very own Big Ragoo. He's been on the Reds almost every time he's been here on the show, and he hasn't been here in 3 weeks. Not since June 14th. He's been a backer of these Reds. That, I understand, in the future market, you don't want to buy high. And that whole thing got in my head with the Reds at +450. And now I just hate myself for not betting that, but it is what it is. Brian Watson, that's to win the division, of course. Brian Watson, Astros -1.5. Nasty Nate's Guardians was good money yesterday. That was a wild game, and that was important. Important for my divisional future, for them to know that they can beat the best team in the league. Now they are at home, but there's Turnsy ready to go. Osby hit the Renfroe home run prop. Nice job, Osby. JP France over 4.5 Ks. And Astros over 4.5 for Mally Mal. Let me copy and paste that for the Astros game so we can discuss all of this. Let me just move over to that Astros spot. I've only made one bet pre-flop, a pre-show. There was spots that I wanted to bet. And I looked very closely at the over in this here as well, Mally Mal in that game. Chris K looking at the Diamondbacks to bounce back. There's our guy, Mark Schillingberg, in the house, a big part of our winning day yesterday. Jessica Easton rolling with us, says, going to be a great day. Feels that way. Robert Franklin coming off a 6-2 day. I love that. Mark Schillingberg says, Sharpies, Musgrove K-Prop was killer. Should have laddered it, but I did hit it hard. Didn't Musgrove look spectacular? That Padres first 5 was just a no-sweat spot if you watch that game. Slatsy says, of course, I knew when Alec Manoah was announced that Slatsy would be back in the chat. Alec Manoah starting Friday first time. Looking to fade him a bunch of different ways, especially walks on the over. Mally Mal saying Sharpie is the goods. Great to see all you guys. And Slatsy's Turnsy's going to be at that ball game on Friday. Oh, God, that sounds nice. Saturated giving 3 cheers for Ian Happ. Big hip. Jay's final take in the house. We get the Let Your Nuts Hang play today, hopefully, from Jay. There's Rocco Rogers, K-pop prop sweepage. Look at that, 4 or 5 for home runs. Spenny Pennybombs also had a monster day with Jax. Monster day. Equanimus ready to get to work. Browns, Hughes, cash the guards over with ease. You did. I love it. I don't remember having a day quite across the board with all of us cashing like that. Jose went 4-1 too. It was just it was great. So let's do it again right now. Paco Healy liking the Jays' first 5 money line. Troy Torrance says, how about those Marlins? Says, I've templated that market environment. We'll be backing it blindly moving forwards. Yeah, I felt I don't know why. Sometimes when you love a sport so much, you can romanticize. So, and then for some reason, I'm like, what is Wainwright just going to end his career like this? I don't know. But I should have been there with you guys. It was a mistake, but still coming off 5-0 day. All right, let's roll. There's Christopher Carter in the house. Let's bring on the star of every second Wednesday here. Wednesdays are a great day here on Betting with the Bag because we either have the Big Ragoo or Connor Mack picks. Wednesday, we've been eating, and I can't wait to be back in action with your next guest. Originally from New York City, now Ocala, Florida horse country is his home. Please welcome one of the leaders of our squad, the Big Ragoo, to the show. Doc, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. How's everybody doing in the chat? Hopefully everybody has safe and happy 4th for us Americans, our friends to the north of the border. We always wish you guys well every day of the year, no matter what happens. But I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. Not bad for an old guy.
We love it. We love it, Ragu, and we love having you here with us. Now, Ragu, and there's Billy Brisbane in the chat as well. Brizzy will be coming on afterwards. Brizzy has WNBA action for us and Summer League action. So he's got 3 bets in the Summer League as well. So that will be closing up our show. Now, Ragu, you have an interesting statistic, I guess we could call it. You have never in your career with me ever had a losing record in a sport ever. It's unbelievable for all the times that we've worked together and all the seasons and all the sports.
5 years, yeah.
You have never had it. And right now we are down 5.85 units for you on the season. And every second Wednesday, that's tough. You have your work cut out for you to keep this unbelievable streak alive. And I could go over, and maybe I will, but I mean, that's got to be what? It's got to be at least 13, 14 seasons in different sports that you've worked with me and had winning records. So you have your work cut out for you, but you always, in every sport, get better as the season goes on, as you have more, stats to analyze.
Yeah.
And we believe in you.
Watch out for baseball around this time of the year. It's close to the All-Star break. A lot of crazy shit happens.
Yes, but I loved how we handled yesterday.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
5-0.
So as a group,
I know you left money on the table, like you said, but you know what? Take the 5-0 with a smile, big smile.
Well, the best thing that happened really was Lamont coming in with his max bet on the Pirates.
Yeah, awesome.
And I watched that all play out last night. It was fun. One of the atmosphere at Chavez Ravine is always magical, but it's amazing that the Padres, with how horrible they've been this year, are selling out every game. The atmosphere against the Angels with Shohei against Musgrove, I don't know if you watched it, but it was magic. Like, it was just complete. I know it's July 4th, but still it was, and I guess it's like their 35th consecutive sellout. So at least this year. So, and Christopher Carter says Lamont info always top notch. Mally Mouse says Summer League Degen special. There's Mr. Heat in the house. All right, Big Ragoo, let's get ready to roll. Let me make sure that I have everything up here for a smooth start for us. And that is all I'm missing. So let me just get up Ballpark Pal here. And so we can discuss the weather. I know it's not needed for this first game, so I'll just get it here for future spots. We don't need weather in Houston. It's very hot, and the roof will be closed. All right. Tom Leach says tennis is stressful to watch when you have a bet on it. Come on, Novak. Wow, is Novak not ahead? Wow, that's wild. He was a big favorite, and well, let's just get him home before we talk about it, because Sammy Calmer has a big bet on Novak to win it all here. So, and look at that. Is it Rocco's birthday? Is it Rocco's birthday here? Did I miss Rocco's birthday? Lance over 5.5 Ks minus 125. I do like that. I don't see Rocco's birthday. Can someone? Oh no, maybe that was Ron Crawford. He was saying too. Okay. And Barry Smith saying Ragoo deserves his own show. Yes, he does, and he has one. For college football, he has his own show here on the channel every Saturday morning, but he deserves more than that. I'm right with you, Barry. We are very, very, extremely fortunate that this man chooses to cap with us. Let me just get this Lance Lynn. I think that Lance, I don't bet K props, but watching you guys cash him nonstop, with Sharpie's leadership, I would get it.
K props are tough. There's a pick. Let me interrupt you for 1 minute to talk about K props. There's a guy that you and I both like, Garrett for Marlins. I cashed 3 times in a row with him. Kept layering him up, and then I got off of that one after that 13K. That's the week I missed with you, by the way, when he pitched that Wednesday. I mean, he was like 5.5, and then he had like 9 strikeouts and like almost 3 innings. He had like almost 8 Ks. But anyways, K props are tough. I agree, but we got to master the K prop on the channel. His name is Sharpie, so always follow Sharpie's picks on the K props.
Yeah, and the idea about Lance Lynn, we all know what Lance Lynn's kryptonite is left-handed bats, and the Blue Jays were lacking them unbelievably in the offseason. So they made the Varsho trade, which is a trade that a lot of us despise, and then they picked up Brandon Belt, so they have a left-handed bat. So we have 3 left-handed bats in the lineup. So we have a pretty weak left-handed situation. And there is our guy Rocco Rogers says, yes, it is. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Happy birthday, Rocco Rogers. What a great capper and great colleague to have. We love capping with you. Let's get to work here right now. Colorado Rockies, Houston Astros, Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, to get us started here. Chase Anderson versus JP France. Chase Anderson, could have been picked up by anybody in the league for a cup of coffee, and the Rockies picked him up, and then he looked really good out of the gate, and it was shocking. He's come right back now. He is getting absolutely lit up and smoked right now. And his last start was at home in the thin air against the Dodgers, 6 earned runs over 3 2/3. Now it's a 6.50 ERA, a 1.51 WHIP, and he's not to be trusted. JP France is coming off a very, very strong start at St. Louis, which kind of came, I know he's a professional pitcher, but he had a couple tough starts before that. He struggled at home for some reason. You can say that the sample size is too small, 23 1/3, a 5.01 ERA, 16 strikeouts, 7 walks, 6 homers, 250 opponents batting average. Rockies versus righties, just 251, 696 since June 1st. And those power numbers have dropped off a cliff. Just not hitting with any power against righties of late. Astros versus righties, 249, 762. Astros, a very professional victory yesterday. I imagine that everybody in America cashed on July 4th because the biggest public spot, was the Marlins, but the Astros surpassed that yesterday. And I was on the Astros -1.5, and it was an easy casher. And I took all, I had first 5 -1.5 at -140 queued, but I was like, -140 is just a little too much. Rockies bullpen's been atrocious, 6.11 ERA since June 1st, while the Astros bullpen's been tough, 4.26 ERA. And North Ender saying Faves went 10-5 yesterday. So, yeah. North Ender says, see no reason why the Astros don't cruise again. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow and then make some decisions around it. One thing that surprised me was the big market move towards the Colorado Rockies. This initially was stagnant. And at 7:48 a.m., there was our first move to the Astros. So it took, 14 hours for there to be really any movement. Move to the Astros, and then a big move in the opposite direction. So to put that into perspective a little more, from 8:33 a.m. to 10:43 a.m., there was a 21-cent move to the Colorado Rockies. It's bought back 3 cents. But so we have an 11-cent move to the Colorado Rockies. And from a total perspective, we have a bunch of 9s across the board. This opened up at 9, and it dropped to 8.5 at 2:37 this morning. It only lasted there for 3 minutes, but then it went back to 9 and then right back to 8.5. So that's interesting. This is juice to the under. So we have a 12-cent move to the under. So the market at least believes that Chase Anderson's going to have a good start here, which I think maybe catches some of us by surprise. It certainly caught me by surprise. And look, I'm sitting here after cashing with the Astros yesterday. And so obviously I have a recency bias. I had the Astros a lot against the Rangers. I have the Astros to win the division, and so does Jose. So cash-wise here, 23% of the tickets and 88% of the cash are on the Colorado Rockies. 68% of the tickets and 99% of the cash are on the under 9. The market has taken me completely off of this game. Let's hear what the Big Ragoo is going to do with Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Rockies, Astros.
Yeah, maybe the market was a little bit overvalued on that number and probably sitting right where it needs to be sitting now, but it's still a little higher than I like to get involved with it. And I mean, France, I think the very first time France pitched, that was on your show, like he was making his first start, due to all the injuries that the Astros had with their rotation, but he's kind of held his own. 3-3 with a 3.13, very respectable numbers. Not Cy Young numbers, obviously, but good numbers. He's like you said, he's a professional pitcher. Anderson, on the other hand, it's been a minute since he's seen these Stros. Very small sample size versus their lineup here, so not a lot of familiarity with both of these pitchers going up against each other and the lineups here. So for the most part, I tend to agree with that that under look. That's, even though we know the Astros can hit the ball long, we know the Rockies probably get their struggles here too at the same time. So maybe a sneaky good little first 5 under here possibly, but I'm not going to be involved with it. Maybe even going back to the run line possibly with the Astros at a lower number, maybe like -110 or wherever it's sitting right now. That would be the only look I would have here. Is maybe look at the possible first 5 under, and then getting deep into the game with the bullpen that the Rockies have. Maybe run line with the Astros, but a little too rich for my blood on the money line side. Like I said, lean first 5 under, lean Astros run line.
Yeah, I my plan was to go right back to the well with the Astros against Chase Anderson. It's and maybe it's still a winning bet, but
I like that first 5 under more than I do like the run line.
And so, what is it about? I mean, I'm in, like, why would Chase Anderson be able to get his shit together here? Maybe just getting out of the thin air.
Yeah, I mean, I think I went back and looked at the batting matchups, and there's a couple of guys that hit like 500, a very small sample size, but outside of that, maybe a collective, puts together a little bit of better effort here. Like you said, the market putting it back 8.5, 9 back and forth. So that was my thinking initially. Just coming out of the gates a little early here too, so maybe a little slower start for the Rockies and the Astros on offense.
Billy Brisbane saying total open 9.5, moved to 9, 68% money, 95% of them, or 65. I guess he means the tickets. 95% of cash coming in on the under. Deshaun G looking at best bet. Kyle Tucker over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Nice to see you, Deshaun. And Barry, love you too, man. Remember, you can make fun of us. Anyone, we have very simple rules here in the chat. You can throw hate anywhere you want to anybody. Just can't be spam, can't be racist, can't be homophobic. And can't be sexist. We need to respect our female cappers, and we want more of them. And so that's all. It's always been the same. Nothing's ever changed here. And these are the rules that Peter Loshak sent down to us. Because if you guys remember, nobody took more hate when they started out their career in this business than I did, and people seem to love it, except for me. It took me a little while to get over it. But okay, let's move on here. That is Rockies, Astros, and no action from either of us. Billy Brisbane says, you think players partied hard for 4th of July last night? I don't really think so. I don't know. That's a tough question. But, I mean, it's a pretty busy slate. I guess they had a little bit of time. Barry Smith says Rockies upset today. And remember Barry Smith on the last show that he was with us. He gave us the Royals. And that was when the Royals outlasted the Guardians 4-3 in extras. So, okay, let's roll on. Nothing for us in the afternoon game. And I'm not going to force afternoon action. even though I'd prefer to have it as it makes our days more enjoyable. Let's move on to 6:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Oakland Athletics 24-63, 12-31 on the road. Detroit Tigers 37-47, 18-22 home. Comerica Park, Detroit, Michigan. For those of you that backed Tariq Skubal yesterday, I hope you did it in a total situation. He was absolutely spectacular, and the fact that the Tigers couldn't get a W out of that is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. So, what a pitching performance from JP Sears and Tariq yesterday, especially Tariq. All right, we're in Comerica Park, so let's talk the weather here for this one. A beautiful, beautiful weather up here. 88 Fahrenheit, clear, 10.7 miles per hour in, down to 9.1 miles per hour. Let's go over to the ballpark pal and see what their thoughts are here for Comerica. Minus 10% home runs, minus 2% runs. There we go. Joe Yurkovich says it's is it Reese Olson? Is it? I thought Eduardo Rodriguez was. Is it really? I have Eduardo Rodriguez coming off the IL. Is this wrong? Did I waste time? No, we still got Eduardo Rodriguez here.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just making sure. Billy Frieder says Tigers first five easy here. Waldecuck starting again. Reese Olson in relief. Oh, last night. Okay, I feel you. Sorry. All right, so Waldecuck, Eduardo Waldecuck, 1-5, 6.78 ERA, 1.91 WHIP. I mean, he's just looked bad. His last start, they only let him go 2 2/3. I think he started that, but it was a 10-4 loss at home versus the Yankees. On the road, he's being, unbelievably bad. 35 1/3, 9.17 ERA, 32 strikeouts and 27 walks. How's that for a K to walk ratio? 9 homers. And listen to this, opponents hitting .345 against him. Now, we just saw Detroit look spectacular pitching-wise with a pitcher coming off of the IL. Pitcher who we hadn't seen, since, 2/3 of the way through last season. Now we have Eduardo Rodriguez, who was placed on the injured list on May 30th. He had a left index finger pulley rupture. Maybe Cab can tell us what the hell that is in the chat. I know it's a left finger injury, but a pulley rupture. He started throwing pretty much right away. He started throwing on June 6th. So he only took about basically a week off. He had 1 minor league rehab start in AAA Toledo, struck out 4 over 4 1/3 scoreless. He's been so good this season. I mean, he's been better than I've ever seen him pitch. Now he's coming back. And again, the A's just can't hit lefties. 161, 512 OPS. The Tigers, 226, 701 OPS. Obviously, their numbers got cracked a little bit from the performance against JP Sears, but this is from June 1st. A's bullpen, 4.74 ERA. Tigers bullpen, 3.95 ERA. So let's take a look at the line history. We've already talked about the weather. It's minus 10% for home runs, minus 2% for runs. This total opened up at 8.5 2 hours ago. It has not moved at Pinnacle, but Bet Chris is a real sharp book, and Bet Chris opened it at 8, minus 120 to the over. They're the only book I see here of the offshores that the trusted offshores that opened it at 8. And of course, Bet Chris and Bookmaker work in unison, so they'll always have the same lines. So then we'll go over to the cash flow, the money line here. And it's, you're asking for a big favorite spot. It's minus 223. That's actually the best line available if you like the Tigers. This opened up at minus 220, a 3-cent move towards the Tigers. And again, this line hasn't been out, just for a couple hours. So we're not going to get too much information here. When we go to the tickets and the cash, we have 18% of the tickets and 44% of the cash on the A's, 27% of the tickets and 46% of cash on the over. Justin Villegas says A's like to get a good hitter when they find one, sell them for a few average pitchers for this. Yeah, no, I hear that. It's been pretty ugly. Dabby Cab says basically the tendons in the index finger that would suck to have to deal with. Rocco Rogers looking at Erod's K's, even though you have to think that he's going to be on a pitch limit. This is pretty ugly, man. Professor Chris says Tigers, model shows Tigers minus 212.95, so no value there. Wine Time says the fact that the Tigers are minus 230 against anyone means they are definitely going to win over there. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on whether or not Rodriguez is worth trusting at this big of a number after being on the IL with the index finger injury.
Good question. Rodriguez, his numbers, with the IL thing, his numbers are pretty good. Just I'm not a big proponent of taking a guy, coming back off ILs right away, but the A's are a special team that I like to fade on the road when they're at home getting big numbers, and I like to take a little stab with them every now and then. But in this particular spot here, though, I think I can trust Rodriguez even on the pitch count, and with their big run differential that the A's have, which is a big part of what I do with capping on run lines. And if you look at what the Tigers have done, the last 9 out of 10 games they've won, they won in excess of 2 runs in each of those events. So I think, and then Waldichuk, I think they can hit them here. So this is a pretty simple cap for me. Eliminating the big number, the big 200 number. The only play I come up with here is definitely taking the Tigers on the run line, especially after getting beat 1-0 yesterday. Are they going to get zeroed out again? I doubt it. I think Tigers put some runs up here, and it's like you said. The big question is Rodriguez. How deep will he go? What will they get? But I think they'll generate enough offense here to cover the run line here. So I'm on the Tigers run line at I think minus 110, roughly. Pick them somewhere in that neck of the woods. I haven't made it official yet, but I'm going to give it for the show, the official play, and then whatever you get me for the number on the run line with the Tigers.
All right. Well, let's see what we can get you. Tigers run line for the Big Ragoo. The doc here working with us today, minus 1.5 and minus 106.
Okay.
Available at Pinnacle is the best line on the board. So let's lock it in here. There's Spenny Penny Bombs in the house. What a day he had yesterday with his home run props. Spectacular work, Spenny. We all noticed what you've been doing, my man. Okay, so Doc is on the board. Ragu is on the Tigers, minus 1.5, minus 106. And I get it. Maybe I just need. I'm not going to hum a haw over this bum fight, but I'll look into it a little more. And I get it. Mally Mal looking at that Tigers race 2-3 runs. Professor Chris says his model getting 8.65 total runs in this game for what it's worth. It's excellent. We love hearing what your model has with these things, Professor Chris. So thank you for sharing that. North Ender said he would lean Tigers team total or first 5 team total over. All right. And Spenny says for the Houston game, he likes Kyle Tucker, homer, and RBI. And we heard that somebody also said that. And there is Troy Torrance also going to back the Detroit Tigers here today. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, the question is, and it was perfectly put by Joe Yurkovich, said that minus 230 pencils out to a full season record of 113-49 to break even. Is this matchup worth more than that? If it comes down to that question, I would say no. But if it comes to the point where, I mean, we saw JP Sears, the best pitcher for the A's, shut down the Tigers, and now they face the same side, another lefty who is probably the worst pitcher that we're seeing for the A's. And I mean, it's hard to be worse than Luis Medina, but when you factor that in, I get it. I get why Ragu is moving on the Tigers here. And I guess that gives me some interest looking at it from that angle. But let's move on. Ragu is on the board. I am not. 6:40 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Phillies at Tampa Bay Rays. We're at Tropicana Field here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And this is a real interesting spot because initially I want Taiwan Walker. We have Zach Little, and then I believe that Yanni Trinos is the primary. I wonder if we could get that confirmed. I've got Trinos as the primary. Let's just go and see what RotoWire has for this one. Do they have Trinos as the... Yes, they do. Okay. That helps the cap here. Nasty says, is this a spot where tomorrow you say you should have been on the Tigers with all of us? Well, Nasty, I think the big difference between the Marlins and the Tigers here at this point is that the market had made it clear that the Marlins were the callers, 30 or 40 cent move over there. This has only been out for 2 hours. And I didn't know that you were even on it. I just see Troy on the Tigers and Ragu on the Tigers. I don't see anybody else on the Tigers. I see a lot of people saying, don't bet the Tigers. Do you see a lot of people, Nasty Nate? Am I missing it? This? Is there a lot of people on the Tigers? Am I missing this? Because I just see Ragu and Troy. Now they're very confident in their cappers I want to be aligned with, but all right. Phillies rate, and also the Marlins weren't expensive. Remember, the Marlins opened up at minus 145 at Pinnacle. They were at minus 170 something by the time it got to Showtime. So I think there's a lot of differences here, but so we'll see. Filthy Sticks looking at the Tigers team total over. Mike M says, nice to see you, Mike M. Says, Taiwan Walker 16-1 straight up in his last 17 starts after a 1:10 p.m. Eastern start. If they're shorter, then plus 144. Reclaim James says heavy lean with the Tigers. Mike M saying, I think there's a lot of people auto fading the A's in this case. There's 1777 memorabilia now. Okay, so let's get back to this spot. So yesterday, celebrating his 55th birthday, on July 4th, took the time to give us yet another winner. Spreadsheet play today here on our show, 28-21, 57.1%, plus 6.76 units, ROI plus 13.80%, average line minus 103. And that man is Ron Crawford, and he is on the Rays, -1, which throws me for a bit of a loop because Taiwan Walker's just been so good, and I can kind of cut his road numbers out of it now because those problems were in the beginning of the year, but the spreadsheet has spoken. Chili Dog Dooley says heading to Detroit for work and will be attending this bum fight. I love it, Chili Dog. Man, I wish I was there with you. That's I love it. I love it. And Jay Stone sending out a happy birthday to Rocco Rogers. Razor sharp picks. Phillies money line plus 120. We have Razor on the other side of spreadsheet, and Razor on the side that I was close to moving on. But let's discuss this further. Don't need to look at weather here at the Trop. And we know that our special guest, the Big Ragoo, knows this team very, very well. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. I've been staring at it, since last night. We have at Pinnacle, this opened up. Now, this didn't open up at Pinnacle till 8 in the morning. Opened up at under 9 minus 108. It's now under 9 plus 105. So we have 14 cents of movement to the over. So they're saying that there is volatility in this start. That's another thing that sort of surprised me. So we have a big move to the over, and then money line wise, and that's a pretty big move for it not to be this still only been out for 3.5 hours. Money line wise, the Phillies open up at plus 115. They're now plus 113. There was a real legit move to the Phillies when this line opened up. This got down to plus 106, got down to plus 105, got down to plus 104 at 10:30. Since 10:30 a.m., there's been a big move to the Rays. But as of this point, we have a 2-cent move to the Phillies and a 14-cent move to the over. We'll pull up the cash flow for this one. And 5,910 tickets in. 63% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on the Rays. Then for the total, 84% of tickets and 94% cash on the under. Yeah, we have a 14-cent move on the over. So that's all pretty tricky to figure out. Taiwan Walker, 3.93 ERA, 1.23 whip. His numbers have just been getting better and better and better as the season's gone on. His last start, 3-1 win at the Cubs, was very good. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 6 hits, 6 Ks, 1 walk, no jacks. On the road, though, his numbers are bad. 281 opponents batting average, 5.26 ERA. When Ragu drops his thoughts on the game, I'm going to pull out exactly his last few, or let's go all the way back through his road starts. Zach Little is not going to be out there for long. He's just an opener. He's not been good this year in 15 and a third. Now, 16 Ks, 5 walks, 3 home runs isn't awful, but 5.28 ERA, 1.43 whip. Yanni Chirinos is a strange guy. He can't really be a bullpen piece because he can't get strikeouts. But he gets a lot of soft contact. He's a pretty good, long reliever, but the Rays seem to never be down by big numbers and need one. 4-3, 3.64 ERA. In 54 and a third, he only has 27 strikeouts and 19 walks. Not a good K to walk ratio. His last start at Arizona was very good. Very good. 6 innings, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 4 Ks, 3 walks against a hot-hitting Diamondback squad. At home, he has struggled for whatever reason. I think the sample size is probably too small, 19 and a third innings. 5.59 ERA, 9 Ks, 6 walks, 3 homers, 236 opponents batting average. The Phillies and Rays are hitting almost identically against righties. since June 1st, hitting well. 260, 747 for Phillies, 256, 749 for the Rays, and both bullpens have been very good. Phillies bullpen 3.25, Rays bullpen 2.78 since the 1st of June. There is Sharpie in the house. Sharpie also sweeping the board yesterday. There's a lot of board sweepage around here. Take it away for us here. I'm very interested in your thoughts on this one, Ragu. Take it away, Phillies, Rays.
Yeah, so the Phillies are basically they're trying to get to the break, play catch up like they did last year, when they had the injuries and whatnot. They've been real spotty on scoring runs. As we know that the Rays have a pretty good run differential, lead in this category, but they're on a 3-game losing streak right now. They've been spectacular at home all season. Walker's been great all season long. He's kind of filled into that role. They kind of expect him. Chirinos is going to get the log of the innings, like you said. I figured he'd start, but not so much. We're looking at probably an inning, maybe 2 out of Lytle here, but we got to get to Chirinos to kind of keep things. So that kind of took me off the first 5 action. I wanted to get involved with the Rays. I think they present a little value here. At the Trop against Walker, as good as he's been. We know that Franco is going to try to make a point. They're kind of shunning him for the All-Star, so he wants to go out, put some big numbers up. So I'd look for him to have a day. I would get involved with Franco and maybe some kind of player prop, bases, hits, whatever, which I won't do, but that's a little tip there. Like you said, both bullpens have been spectacular, so they both hit righties well. They both have great bullpens. So, something's got to give in this spot here. And I lean with Ron Crawford. I think the Rays present the value here as spectacular as Walker's been. The Rays have way too much offense. But I think if they don't put a lot of runs up early, we're going to be looking at probably a tight game, maybe a 1-run game, long term, once they get to the bullpen. So I want to lean with the Rays in the first 5, but I'm not going to pull the trigger here. I'm probably going to stay off of this one. But I think the Rays present the value, so I would have to tend to agree with Mr. Crawford on the Rays look. But I'm not making it official. Maybe before we get off the show, I'll come back to it and take the Rays full game, but not the first 5. First 5 is a look I usually like to get involved with the Rays at home, but not today. I think Walker is going to present himself, and I'm a little concerned with Lytle early on, so that's going to put me off of it.
I'm going to have to be off of this game, even though this had been a planned move here. I'm very surprised at this total or this expectation of volatility in this game. Even if we know what these bullpens are doing, look at what my bookie has done. I can't stress, these books are trying to beat us, and my bookie is trying to beat us, and they fluctuate their lines constantly. And again, I tell you guys, I know who's running the book here, and he's a very, very good gambler. Very good gambler. One of the best gamblers I've ever seen in sports. And he opens this up at 9, and he moves it immediately to 8.5. That's what I would expect here. You're looking at these. I know the Rays are going with Lytle and then with Trinos, but the bullpens are so good. Taijuan Walker has a 1.50 ERA in June, and that's over like 6 starts. It goes down to 8.5, which is what I would expect it to do. Mm-hmm. And it's there for 7 hours. It's now at 9.5. So he's taking his best bettors are betting the over in this one. Razor, much love. Thank you for running with us. Yankees money line versus the Orioles is Razor's also on, and I can't wait to talk about that game. That game is going to be extremely enjoyable to talk about, and that's coming up here very soon. So let me just put this here. So with all that being said, I'm off, unfortunately. So. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like being off. I thought this was going to be a spot, but Razors on the Phillies money line. Ron Crawford's on Tampa Bay -1. This total is moving towards the over, and gonna have to stay off. Let's move on. 6:40 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis Cardinals 35-50, 18-25 on the road. At the Miami Marlins 50-37, 27-16 at home. Now, I've capped this game with Steven Matz getting the start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's see. Steven Matz is listed by the Cardinals right now. Let's see. Is Bet365 listed Steven Matz? No, they haven't. Let me see if they have now. And they still have not. And it's completely off the board. So maybe it isn't. Yeah, it's never been on for me at least. Yeah. So maybe it's not Steven Matz. He hasn't started the game since May 24th. He's looked quite a bit better coming out of the pen of late, but we know that he's very vulnerable on the hill. 4.92 ERA, 1.59 WHIP. So I'm going to just expect that it's Matt starting. We'll do it like this, but of course we can't do anything on it at this point. On the road, he's been atrocious too. 26 2/3, 7.09 ERA, 360 opponent's batting average. Going up against Brian Hoeing, who got lit up and smoked in his last start, 16-4 loss at Atlanta. He'd had very good numbers before that, and it was his first time really getting lit up and smoked. At home, he's been unhittable. 0.87 ERA over 20 2/3. Hasn't allowed a jack. 19 K, 7 walks, 197 opponent's batting average. The Marlins are just destroying lefties. 313, 753. And the Cards are hitting righties pretty hard. 261, 780. And both bullpens haven't been that good, especially the Cards bullpen, 5.72 ERA. There's our guy, Sammy Comer, in the house. So there's no need to look at any line history. It's just not there. It's not out. It's not available. So what are your thoughts here, Cardinals, Marlins, for this one, Doc?
Yeah, I wanted to take the Marlins on a team total like 4, but I see like DraftKings got like a 3.5 juiced at 145, so that's a little richer than I like to get involved with. But if I can get a 4 with the Marlins against Matz, if he goes, I'll make that official right now on the show. Well, like you said, they are smashing lefties and they're playing good ball. A different team at home. I had a lot of questions for Shoemaker early on, but with that staff that he's got and these youngsters, man, they're really hitting the ball really, really well. And they got 50 W's, and a lot of they play tough. They play good teams tough. They play like 500 ball against teams that win the record. So their numbers are good, especially down in Miami. So I want to get involved with the Marlins in some form or fashion, scoring runs here. And I think even though they don't win by margin, their run differential is a little light, but they have their spots. I think this is a good spot for them. And I think they get a sweep here if they win, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be God, Cardinals look awful. Sharp said at the beginning of the year, Marlins have the best rotation in the game as they're the only team I track 6 pitchers in their rotation. Okay, so we are going to move on. Ken Mizrahi, great job. Just smooth work, fading Wainwright. Rocco Rogers says, I want the over here. The Cardinals are hitting right-handed pitching right now, and so are the Marlins for either handness. Cards bullpen is awful right now. Give me the over. Yeah, I'd be interested in the over as well. So we'll see if and anybody, if it does become available, please let us know.
Yeah.
All right. This is a very, very fun game to talk about. Let's move on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern, Baltimore Orioles at New York Yankees. This one is going to be really fun because we've already heard from Razor Sharp Picks. He's on the Yankees money line, but TJ, star of the gift play of the day, that's 21-9. 70% plus 11.93 units, ROI plus 36.5%, average line minus 104, has given us the gift. And it is also the New York Yankees at plus 110. So we have Razor, and we already heard Tom Leach liking the Yankees. These are some of the notes from our guy TJ, who can't be here with us, but just a sign of what we're doing here on the show, just the teamwork that happens, that he just wanted to make sure that we had this information, even though work was going to stop him from being here. It says Kramer's FIP the last 5 starts is very concerning, averaging a FIP over 6. Says Yankees own him over his last 5 starts against them. 1.69 whip, 7.55 ERA. Says Yanks heating up offensively versus righties, and the O's are slumping hard. Large bullpen advantage in the last 14 days. So he is on the New York Yankees. Let's discuss the spot and see if we should move immediately as well. And I haven't yet. So let's pull up the weather here for this one. First off, 84 Fahrenheit, 8.1 miles per hour right to left, very slightly in. Stays between 8.1 and 7 for the game. And let's see what their expectation is here of Yankee Stadium. Plus 26% home runs, plus 10% runs. So an offensive spot here at Yankee Stadium. Let's go over to the line history here in this one. First off, we have the total up here. Let me get the spread up as well. The money line up as well. Oh, God, why is this here? Sorry, I got this on total for some reason. It should be on money line. Okay, here we go. For the money line, there has been a real move to the Yankees. Wow, a real legit move. And it's come in the last... this only opened up at 8:08 this morning. So the Yankees opened up at plus 108. I could have got on at plus 105. They're now minus 100. They're now at even money. So we have a move towards the Yankees. Let's take a look at the total here for this one. This one opened up at Pinnacle at 9.5. It opened up 9.5 everywhere. It only lasted for 12 minutes before it went to 9. So it's a move to the under and a move to the Yankees. Let's take a look at the cash flow. Here we go. The cash flow for the Yankees spot. We have 72% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the Yankees. A lot of money on the Yankees. Then we have 40% of the tickets and 58% of cash on the under. Offensive weather here, but I think that they're saying that Kramer's going to pitch okay. Filthy Sticks is on the Yankees money line and the over 8 with a 2-legger. North Ender says Baltimore with 1 win in the last 7 games. Yankees getting hot. Kramer being bad and the O's are favored. Seems weird to him. And Pennybomb says, I think he may have to go back to Santander homer today. Vasquez in limited appearance so far has a higher ERA versus lefties. Vasquez is what I wanted to talk out here. Because, there's a reason why he's been in AAA. And also, in AAA, he's not been good. For Wilkes-Barre, he's 2-8 with a 5.11 ERA, 1.61 whip, 8 home runs allowed in 61 2/3. His last start up in the big leagues was June 8th, 5 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 Ks. It was good. He looked good. 3-0 win at home versus the White Sox. So he's throwing 10 1/3 innings with a 0.97 whip and a 1.74 ERA. Kramer's looked really bad. There's no other way around it. He's looked bad. He's been better on the road than he's been at home. His last start, he led 7 earned runs in 3 innings at home versus the Twins. On the road, he's got a 4.50 ERA, 3.10 opponents batting average. That start he had against the Twins was the spot where we had the spreadsheet on the Orioles. We had Matty Ice came in and dropped the Orioles. I moved on the Orioles first 5 in full game the night before, but the market had been very stagnant. It wasn't moving on the Orioles, even though everyone was on the Orioles. And then, of course, Razor Sharp Picks had his gambler's first glance on the Twins, and Twins dominated that baseball game. That was Lopez against Kramer. Orioles versus righties since June 1st, 251, 727 OPS. Yankees versus righties, 206, 646. Orioles bullpen's been bad. I can't understand why it's been so bad. It's been bad. 4.52 ERA. So Lakeisha Sly is the first person to be here and back the Orioles. Professor Chris says numbers also say Orioles run line plus 120. He bet the money line minus 118, the run line at plus 140. Wow. Okay, so we have a couple people here backing the Orioles. Wow. Okay. And Big O saying everyone on the Yanks now has me worried. And Professor Chris says he's on the Orioles every day. So let's hear what Doc has to say about this spot. What a fascinating game. We have the gift on the Yankees, and we have Razor on the Yankees. What is Big Ragoo doing with his?
Big Ragoo's going to be on the Yankees too, but I'm going to be on the Yankees team total. I think Baltimore struggles. 6 out of 7, 18 runs in that span. Can they come back and light up Vasquez? Sure. It's a good ball club. They've. I wouldn't call them overachievers. Last year, maybe a little bit undervalued, but this year they kind of even things out. If you look at that whole East, we're all in plus run differential territory, top to bottom, and outside divisions. We usually smash everybody. Our division, but when they play each other, it's a different ball game. Especially these O's, they've always given the Yankees fits over the years, and they're capable of doing that today, possibly. But I just think in the spot right now where they're at, and I like Bader in the lineup with the Yankees. The Yankees, they produce when he's in the lineup. Their win ratio is pretty high with Bader. when he's up in there, especially with Judge being out. And they've kind of turned things. I think they kind of turned the corner with the Judge issue, being out, early on. They lost a bunch of games. Now they kind of balanced the book, so to speak. So I think the Yankees score some runs here. And I'm going to be in a double up spot just to kind of hedge my bet a little bit. So I think the Yankees score runs, and I think they get the W too. So I got the Yankees over 4.5 runs, -110, and I'm going to take the Yankees on the money line.
Well, I can get you that over 4.5 at +103 at Pinnacle. So we'll start that. Yankees are even money here on the money line at Pinnacle. I don't know if anyone is beating that. Let me just check it out. By the way, the Cardinals line is up. Cardinals line is up.
Is it up?
Yeah, it's up. It's up at Bet Online and MyBookie, and they've put it in very different situations. So we'll discuss that in a second here. Let me line shop for you here. So can we get better than even money? No, it looks like even money is the best we can get on the New York. Oh, no, Heritage with a +101. All right, so we'll give you Yankees money line at +101. What is your expectation of Randy Vasquez?
That's the question. I mean, I think if he can throw like a good if he can get like 4.5, 5 innings, I'd be happy in this spot. Really, I think if he gives up like 1 or 2, I think like you say, Baltimore struggles kind of might help him along a little bit right now, but it could turn on a dime for them. They're very capable. They got good bats in the lineup, but I think right now Vasquez should take advantage of the struggling O's here. So I think I expected runs. At first I was thinking over, but I said, the way Baltimore has been struggling, but the equalizer maybe Vasquez, but Vasquez, has decent control here, and hold Baltimore down to a couple runs early on. They get to the bullpen, and then the Yankees winning, and the game might stay under because of Baltimore. But if Baltimore starts hitting the ball, then it's an easy over here. So my question mark is, I'm not trusting the Baltimore bats as of this moment, so I'm going to stick with the Yankee team total.
I've had this. It's Randy Vasquez is the reason why I didn't bet this. That's all. I feel like Kramer's vulnerable too. The market's kind of intimating that Kramer's going to pitch okay here. Troy Torrance, I've not seen the line move for a second towards the Orioles.
The O's, yeah.
This has been all Yankees. So this opened up at 8:08 a.m. and the Orioles were -117. 12 minutes later, -116. 13 minutes later, -115. 45 minutes later, -113. 45 minutes after that, -110. 7 minutes after that, -109. Now they're -108. It's all good, Troy. Oh, you had the wrong game up. I feel you. But that's the issue for me right now. That's just the issue. Going over his AAA numbers of Wilkes-Barre, I mean, there's a reason why he's not being called up, because he looked really good in the majors. Joe Yergowitz says starting pitching is only 1/3 of the story. Yeah, I get it. I'm just telling you my discomfort. But market-wise, I should just bet the Yankees right now. All right, I need more time on this game, and I will take it. But TJ's gift is the Yankees +110. Razors on the Yankees +105. Ragu's on the Yankees +101. And the team total over 4.5 at +103. All right, let's move on. Next up for us is Cincinnati. I did want to talk about before we put up why don't we, Jose? Put that Marlins Cards game back up here for a second, because we do have some information on the line, and we'll just use MyBookie and Bet Online right now because they're the only ones that. So Bet Online has Miami Marlins at -113, and MyBookie has it at -109, and then the totals are the bigger difference. This total has it's under 9 at -120 at Bet Online, and under 8.5 at -111 at MyBookie.
Do they
So
have a team total on the Marlins?
I'm not sure. I'll pull up Bet Online right now and see if they do. I don't have my bookie up here, but I do have my Bet Online account. So let me just pull up the Bet Online account here and see what they're offering in this one. I don't even see it. Listed, even though they're saying at one site that it's up. So I guess it's going to be up here any minute, but it's not up right now.
All right, we'll check it before we leave.
All right, let's move on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds 47-39, 24-18 on the road at Washington Nationals, 34-51, 13-29 at home at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. And Spenny Pennybaum's going to come back with the Spencer Steer homer. Cash that. When was that? In that extra inning spot. I think that was Friday. I want to say that was Friday. So Spenny Pennybaum's on Steer homer at plus 575 and RBI at plus 175. Let me get that right here locked in so we can discuss it. Stimmy OG has to head back to work, but he's big on the Blue Jays and the Nationals money line. Blue Jays and Nationals money line. Well, perfect timing to share that with us, Timmy. Thank you. Peyton Weems also right off the hop gave us the Reds at minus 120. So that's where we stand right now. Reds 47-39, 24-18 on the road. Washington Nationals 34-51, 13-29 at home. We're at Nationals Park in D.C. Let's start with the weather here in D.C. We have 88 Fahrenheit. It's humid. Feels like 93. 5.1 miles per hour right to left. Goes down to 4.9. So it's hot, but the wind's, really no factor. Ballpark Pal has Nationals Park at plus 10% homers, plus 10% doubles and triples, plus 11% runs. So very offensive weather here. Very offensive weather. Troy Torrance says, I think Ashcraft is way better than his numbers indicate. And there it is, the ribeye play of the day from our Mike M. Spencer Steer at plus 175 from Mike M. Spencer Steer at plus 175. Let me copy and paste that. Wine Time says, public is hammering the Reds. The market's going the other way, all over the Nats for 2 units here. Markel on the Reds again. And Professor Chris says, Reds again for me. Numbers show Reds money line minus 160, run line plus 117.91. He bet both at minus 120 and plus 135. All right. Christopher Comtine says Reds are balling. There's our guy, Jack Rosenblatt, in the house. So we've seen the weather. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one with Gray versus Ashcraft. First off, very offensive weather, and the line was put at 10 at some books, but not at Pinnacle. They opened it up at 9.5, and it was juiced to the over. Now it's a pick 'em at 9.5. So we have 7 cents of movement to the under at 9.5, and here on the money line we have the Reds opening up minus 120. They're now minus 115. So 5-cent move to the Nats. So move to the under and a move to the Nats. Let's pull up the cash flow for this one. We have 35% of the tickets and 71% of the cash on the Nationals. It feels like sharp money. 78% of tickets and 97% of cash on the over. And yet the market's moving towards the under. I know it's very offensive weather, but Joe Yurkovich talked about feeling like that a lot of people, I think it was Joe was talking about that, people put too much into the weather. And I wonder if it's the weather. Obviously the heat and the humidity makes me want to kind of move towards the over, but maybe this under is the sharp look. Spenny Pennybaum says also Gray has 9 homers to the righties this year, and Steer's proven he has some nice power. Thinks he can get a hold of one today. Mike M says Steer's a great lineup situation and they're road favorites. He's gotten that RBI 4 of the last 5 games. So let's set this up for us. Ashcraft has been terrible all year and looked very good in that last start at home versus Padres. Finally, I wonder if that means Manoah will look good on Friday. Both have had similar years. Ashcraft worked his kinks out in the major league level, whereas we banished Manoah. On the road, Ashcraft's been much better than he's been at home, and we know why. Cincinnati Reds, very offensive ballpark. On the road, 4.96 ERA, 277 opponent's batting average. He's only allowed 3 jacks and 32 1/3. He's a good pitcher, 32 2/3. Josiah Gray coming off a great start at the Phillies, and the Phillies were a team that's had his number. It shows the kind of pitcher he is. 3.30 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. At home, he struggled. I mean, this guy's always been so good on the road and struggles at home, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly why that's happening. 31 and a third, 2 and 3, 5.17 ERA, 25 Ks, 18 walks. These are not good numbers at home from a pitcher who has excellent numbers. He only has, 25 Ks and 18 walks. I mean, that's just strange for him. The Reds are hitting 266, 805 versus righties, and Nats are hitting 255, 688 versus righties. Reds bullpen 4.05 ERA since June 1st. Nats bullpen 5.77 ERA. And Spenny, I don't have that at Swish. I do not have the weather blowing out at all at Swish for at any point in the game. Let me just refresh it. But so I've got different numbers there at not at all. Let's hear what Doc has to say about this one. Ashcraft versus Josiah Gray, Cincinnati Reds, Washington Nationals.
Yeah, as you said earlier, I think I heard you say something about me backing the Reds a bunch of times.
Yes.
This season, which I have. They play aggressive on the base pass. When they get guys on, they move the runners well. They're a fun team to watch play baseball. Ashcraft's issues, like you said, he did hold the Phillies down last out. He's had some struggles. Maybe he's turned the corner going into the All-Star break. He's better than his numbers indicate. We know that. It's talented. Gray's an All-Star. Even at 6-6, he's got some good looks up on the bump too. Also, so I think the sharp look here is an underplay. Even though the weather conditions dictate, indicate that's possibly a good looking over type game. But I kind of like the Nationals in this spot too, of all things. So I was kind of torn. I said, do I like the over? Do I like the under? I like the Nats as the dog price. But I think the smarter play for me would be like a first 5 under. I think both pitchers hold it down early, and then we might see some fireworks later. But yeah, that's my look. I like the first 5 under here. Give that to me.
I like it too, and this. I don't think this. My bookies switched it to 5, and I think these are going to be 5 soon. We can get you that under 5.5 at -116 Pinnacle. And again, I just want to see when my bookie moved this to 5. Oh, they opened it at 5. Okay. And I think that we should start including my bookie's market movements a little more than I have, just because the capper who's running the book there, he's so good and we know that they're actively trying to beat us. And so I think I should start factoring in.
Would you say money and count was on the total?
Well, this is the wild part of it all, Doc, is that 78% of the tickets and 97% of the cash is on the over. You know what? I'm going to bet this right now. I don't think I think this is all going to change here. Ragu is on the under first 5 under 5.5 at -116, and I'm going to bet it right now. So I'm going to bet it right now. But I'm going to set up the next game for you, and then I'm going to bet it because next game is very interesting as well. It meant a lot to my division bet on the Guardians at +380 that they won yesterday. I know it's just one game out of 162, but still, you got to beat the best to know that you're capable of beating the best, and that's what the Guardians did. Alondo's already given us Soroka to have 4 or more strikeouts, and that landed a win at +200. DC Capper also coming in on that under 9.5, and Joe Yurkovich on the Nationals first 5 money line. So we have Soroka against Quantrill, and again, there's a real reason that Soroka didn't make the Braves, and they're actively looking for someone to come up and step up because they're still waiting. They have like spectacular pitchers that are coming back from injury. I mean, we're waiting on Max Fried and Kyle Wright to come back, but Smith Shawver and Jared Schuster were both optioned to AAA, and now it's Soroka's chance here. So Soroka 101, 6.89 ERA, 1.53 WHIP over 15 2/3 in the majors here. And he just hasn't looked good. Max Powers, nice to see you. We have Mally Mal here saying Quantrill's being shit, and Mr. Eat saying Cal is going to the shed today. So if Soroka against Quantrill, Quantrill's not looked good. That last start, we were fading him just because of Justin Steele, but 10-1 loss. And he looked okay after 2 innings, then he just got lit up. He only made it through 3 1/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. He only has 35 Ks in 62 2/3. We know that's his MO. He's a guy who gets soft contact, doesn't get strikeouts, but he's not looked good this year. Braves are smashing righties 304, 945. And I keep talking about this, but Guardians are hitting righties really hard right now. At 289, 761 OPS. Braves bullpen, unbelievable since June 1st. 2.39 ERA. Guardians at 3.22 ERA. Markel saying he's not stepping in front of these bats. Look, I get it, but a lot of people lost money on the Braves yesterday, and I'm not saying that this will happen again. Clint Star, the Diehard MMA podcast, has his action locked in for UFC. I'm going to copy and post that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, my man. So, Big O saying Ragu best backdrop on PSR. Yeah, it's he's a pro, man. We got a pro rolling with us. So let's talk about the weather here in Cleveland. In Cleveland, we have 85 Fahrenheit, 7 miles per hour in, and the wind starts swirling a bit. So by the end of the game, it's very slightly out. Let's go over to Ballpark Pal. They have Progressive plus 11% home runs, plus 16% doubles and triples, and plus 11% runs. So very offensive weather here. Darren Turner looking at the over. Let's pull up the line history then for this one. Get these up. So line history-wise, we have the Tribe opening up at around plus 145. Pinnacle opened them up at plus 139. So there's been 13 cents of movement to the Braves. 13 cents towards the Braves. From a total side of things, I still got the first 5 up, so let me put up the full game. And for the full game, we have 10s across the board. This opened up at 9.5, and this 9.5 was heavily juiced to the under, which is crazy. This was at 5:32 p.m. yesterday. A constant movement towards the over until they moved it to 10. They moved it at 10 at 12:39 a.m., back to 9.5, now sticking at 10. So we have a move to the over and a move to the Braves. And when we look at the cash flow for this spot, we have 22% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on the Guardians, but lines moving towards the Braves. 81% of tickets and 99% of cash on the over. A lot of money on this over. Take it away for us here, Doc. Braves, Guardians.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got 2 guys with north of 6 on the ERA, so naturally you're going to hang a big total number here in this spot. And with the Braves bats, I mean, they lead the majors in so many different categories. With the OPS, righties, lefties. I mean, it's a murderer's row. I'd hate to throw anybody, any opposing pitchers, especially somebody like Quantrill today. But here's the question mark for the Braves: are you going to back them? Do you trust Soroka? That's the question you have to ask yourself. But then again, that lends to the over if you lean that way with Soroka. But then again, maybe Soroka, kind of battens down a little bit today and has a decent game. So the only way I could even approach this game would have to be the Braves offense versus Quantrill somehow. And I'm probably not going to get there, even though the numbers lend it that way. But I would say, maybe the Guardians even present some value, because like you said, they are hitting righties pretty hard, and there's some vulnerability in that number. So I wouldn't squawk if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I would lean with the Guardians, possibly first 5 on a plus money look." So just for that regard, I'm going to pass on the spot. So I would lean with the value, maybe Guardians first 5 money line, and I'd stay off the total possibly. But if you lean Guardians, I guess you have to lean over too. So, but I would say Guardians first 5 lean.
Yeah, it's this is a tricky card. I do think that spots are going to become more and more available here.
Yeah, Joe Yurkovich says team total over 4. I like that look too.
Guardians team total over 4. I do. Yeah, I do as well. Spenny Penny Bombs liking Matt Olson, Acuna, and Josh Naylor for homers. Copy and paste that. Lakeisha Sly liking Nats first 5 in the game we just spoke about. So let me pop this up here. All right. So locked in. Piker on Braves run line says Cal will get hammered, and he's leaning to the over. Okay, let's roll on. I'm going to stay off of this Braves Guardians spot, but I did just bet that first 5 under 5.5. I got minus 120. I think that's going to be 5s across the board. And if it's 5s across the board with 90 whatever percent, the high 90s on the over, I mean, that's pretty telling to me. Old National says Braves love Mike Soroka. They sent down 2 good pitchers to bring him back up. He looked excellent against Miami, minus 1 inning. Yeah, I hear you, Old National, but there was a reason why they picked those other guys, before him. I don't know what Soroka's going to give you anymore. I really don't. If we want to just take a quick look at what is minor league numbers here just before we move on. And look, I've seen Cal Quantrill shut down good lineups at home, even though I don't really trust them here. But in Gwinnett, 3.31 ERA, 1.14 whip. I mean, he looked good. Why did he not come up earlier? Why did he not make the team, out of spring training? But I hear you, Old National. And look, I'm off the spot. So let's roll on here. Next spot on the board, 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Texas Rangers at Boston Red Sox. And, I've had some good read on some pitchers this year, and it's not equated to my record season long, but I know I should say I know I expect to end up healthy in the black by the end of the season. And I told you guys, I watched John Gray. I watch him, and he labors. He does not look as good as his numbers indicate. And, we faded him last start, and it was a 5-3 loss, and he allowed all 5 earned runs. He's not been good. He's not been good. And I wanted to back Brian Bayo. I wanted to back him bad. And here we go. Sharpie says, red flag. Why is Gray's outs plus money for 16.5 when he's been 17.5 for 5 straight games, going 3-2 to the over and 60% all year? I was looking to back Gray's outs before I saw that. Wow. I wanted to back Bayo here. I didn't know why the line was moving away from him. So let's bring in a ringer here. Our star of Say Hey Plays of the day and the producer of this very show. Please welcome Jose Bouquet to the festivities here. Jose, how are you?
Doing good, Jimmy. Can't complain. Good day yesterday, but not going to get my hopes up too high. Just going to keep grinding and all that good stuff. But we have another Red Sox Rangers game to talk about. My 2 favorite squads to talk about, I guess.
What's happening, Jose?
Hey, Ragu. Nice to see you as well.
All right,
Glad
buddy.
you're doing well as well. Shout out to you, my man.
You got it, brother.
Let's talk about the weather here at Fenway. 77 Fahrenheit, 5.5 miles per hour, right to left, slightly in. That's down to 4.7 miles per hour. Oh, looks like we lost Doc there. I'm sure he'll be back shortly. Let's pull up the Ballpark Pal thoughts on Fenway. And this is 0% home runs, but plus 23% doubles and triples. And this is the most expected offensive park today at plus 15%. You have to think that's playing a role here. Nasty Nate saying very humid here today. There's a guy AOD in the house. Turnsy says if Noah pitches Friday at Detroit, should I fade him? That's $1 million question, Turnsy, that we'll be discussing over the next 48 hours. Piker says on Red Sox money line, like you said, gray regression period's underway and Bayo is legit. Yes, but why is the line moving towards? Why are they moving? Is it moving towards John Gray? So we talked about the weather being very offensive. Let's then take a look at the line history here. This is a game, I wanted the Red Sox last night. I wanted the Red Sox today. First off, this total opened up at 9, and it stayed at 9. Actually, excuse me, opened up at 9.5. Opened up at 9s at some offshores, non-trusted ones. But this one opened up 9.5 at the pick'em, and it moved to 10 at 8:51 this morning. At 11:28, moved back to 9.5. So basically, we just have 5 cents of movement to the over. From the the line history from the money line side of things, we have Boston opening up at minus 107, and they're now at plus 101. there's just been a constant move. I guess there wasn't a constant move. Late last night, there was a move towards the Red Sox, but it's gone the other way since then. So, 8 cents of movement towards Texas. Like, I see it. I see Gray looking vulnerable. I know he's looking vulnerable. But on the road, he's got some of the best numbers of any pitcher in the league this year. 40 and 2/3, 4-1, 1.99 ERA, 33 strikeouts, 11 walks, 4 homers, 180 opponent's batting average. Let's pull up the cash flow for this Boston Red Sox spot. We have 61% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on Texas. So the bigger bets placed on them. 63% of the tickets, 74% cash on the under, but we have the market moving towards the over. Gray's last start at home versus Astros. I said it. 5 earned runs, 7 hits. Did not look good. Good overall numbers. Brian Bayo looks absolutely spectacular. I mean, who looks better than him right now? 2-0 loss at home versus Marlins last out. He was unbelievable, though. 1 earned run over 7 innings. At home, he's got a 3.24 ERA, 238 opponent's batting average. He simply is bet on. Rangers rating 278.09 versus righties, while the Red Sox 255, 731, and both bullpens have not looked good. Take it away for us here, Jose. Rangers, Red Sox.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think the public, after, getting their dubs last night, feeling great about themselves, favorites winning, et cetera, I think this is a spot today where the public gets fucking destroyed. I just feel like the books come for their money today. And I am treading lightly here because I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's been a sketchy slate. I am very hesitant. I only have one bet in, and it's on the Nationals' first 5. Only spot that I really feel great about. Here, I plan on betting the Red Sox. I said yesterday I was going to bet the Red Sox every game in the series because I'll keep saying it. I don't think the Rangers will make the playoffs. And tomorrow's game will be a particularly heartbreaking or heart-hurting for me, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. But John Gray, like you've mentioned as well, I don't trust him here. Brian Bayo's is legit, real deal. I want to bet the Red Sox, but the line's going to keep moving towards the Rangers. So I'm going to wait until my show to make it official. Hopefully get a good price. Because I don't know about you, Jim. I saw this last night on Bovada, minus 120 for the Red Sox. And I was shocked at that opening line. I for sure thought the Red Sox would be underdogs here. But then the Rangers, as I've said on my show as well frequently, the Rangers will continue to be the most public team in baseball. They every day, it's more money, more tickets. It's every day with the Rangers. So I'll wait, but I'm going to be on the Red Sox here. I probably full game money line here. But the other thing is, Jim, I think those totals are interesting of the whole day today because, like you've mentioned, there's like 99, 95, 96% spots. And I just have a feeling that the opposite side of those big money spots are all going to hit today because of, again, how public everything was yesterday. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I gotta trust, what was so successful last year and what I still expect will be successful this year. And again, if we remember last year, it was the second half of the year when I, went off, and it does feel like there's sharp money on the Rangers, even though it makes no sense to me. And if that's the case, I have to stay off, even though I want the Red Sox first 5 so badly. Let's hear what Ragu has to say. Ragu, if you missed it, the line has moved about 8 cents or so in the Rangers' direction. So bigger at some other books, but 8 cents or so in the Rangers' direction. And the Rangers have 61% of the tickets and 79% of the cash. I wonder if that changed. Also, there's 63% of tickets and 74% of cash on the under 9.5. And we saw that go up to 10 for a little while. So
yeah,
I
like the under.
Yeah,
I think both these pitchers. Bayo is how you say his name. All my family Canada, their name is Bello, so they spell it the same way. That's why I laugh every time I hear the way they say it. But anyways, yeah, I think I'm with Jose on this. I think a little bit of when these two teams play each other, it's usually fireworks. But I think here today, I think both pitchers come back to the mean on their ERA. I think we see a sneaky good little under in this spot here. So I hadn't made it official, but I might come back to that before the show's out. If I get 10, I lock it in now. If you got 10 official,
there are 10s.
Yeah, give me a 10.
Oh, they're not anymore. Wow. Oh yeah, yes. I got one at Bodog. So do you have Bovada up, Jose?
Muted there. Yeah, I'm refreshing right now just to double check. It's 10 minus 105 to the over, minus 115 to the over.
That's the last 10 on the board.
Yeah, minus 115, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me that. I'm not afraid of
that. Josh Young, home run for Spenny and RBI. So 525, 155 respectively. Morgan Spooner gave us Rangers first 5 minus a half off the top. So, all right. So let's lock Ragu in. And Jose is waiting. So I imagine at Say Hey plays of the day tonight. We'll see if the line is there.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Ragu is on the under 10 at minus 115. And who is your guest today for Say Hey plays of the day?
Dabby Cab joins me today. It will be a lot of fun. By the way, again, Dabby Cab special guest hosting on Saturday, so that'll be a lot of fun. Dabby's going to take the reins on Saturday. Him and his special guest will be we'll be having a lot of fun there. But today it'll be me and him, and we'll be capping the card as always. A big slate, and like I said, I think it's very tricky today. So there's going to be hopefully probably a lighter slate for us here, but just be careful out there. And then, like I said, I think the public will take some beatings today, it seems, after that public day yesterday. So we'll see what happens.
The books like to take money around All-Star break. Trust me. They like to grab it. They like to get it all the time, but especially the week before the All-Star break, tread lightly, my boy.
Right. Yeah, they were very good to us yesterday, and that's going to breed overconfidence. So
that's when they hit you right over the fucking head.
That's why I have only one bet in. I'm on with everyone else. Like, I'm like, oh, Tigers look great, but I'm just like, I don't know. Do I want to bet the Tigers minus 1.5? And then it's just one of those days where you just tread lightly, everyone. So be careful.
There he is, Jose. There's fluid on my tits, Bouquet. Spenny Pennybomb says, talking about Young, I believe, says 307 with 41 RBIs, pretty solid. Watch him. Oh, no, he's talking about Yoshida. There he is. Okay. So there you have it. Ragu's moving on the under 10 minus 115. Piker's saying, trust the early line move and your gut here. I can't. I got to stick to this because then I'll start opening it up all the time, especially if I win, and I don't want to. I want it to be black and white. I really feel like that's the only way I can succeed in MLB. Of course, there's going to be times where I leave money on the table, but I think it's going to take me off of more losers, as we talk about often. But all right, Rocco says let's cash with our guy Jose. Let's move on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern. Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins, Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota. The stacks play of the day is in. It's Buxton over 1.5 bases at plus 108. 108 here. All right, let's move on. Morgan Spooner says he's liking the over in the early game. Says Rockies offense is all there, and Altuve the only bat missing versus Anderson. I didn't realize that Altuve. Well, I'm not on the game, but yeah, Altuve not in the lineup. This is a pretty weak lineup for the Astros. Interesting. Okay, let's talk about this one here. Royals, Twinkies. We will start with the weather in Minnesota. So starting with the weather in Minnesota, 76 Fahrenheit, 11.2 miles per hour out to right center. Always is around 11.2 out to right center. Let's take a look at Ballpark Pal. And what do they think of Target? Surprise, minus 3% homers, minus 2% runs, minus 8% doubles and triples. Very interesting. Then let's pull up the line history here for this spot. Royals, Twinkies, Lopez versus Marsh. We have Lopez and the Twins opening up minus 231. They're now minus 258. Just a constant move towards them since 5:27 p.m. yesterday. So that's a 27-cent move towards the Minnesota Twins, a big move towards the Twins. And then total-wise, this opened up at 8.5 juice to the over, and it's now 8.5 juice to the under. It's actually a big move. 19 cents of movement towards the under. So big move to the under, although it has stayed at 8.5, and a big move towards the Minnesota Twins. So let's see what the cash flow has to say about all of this. 75% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the Minnesota Twins. Market moving their direction makes sense. 53% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the under. Again, that makes sense. The issue here for me is Alec Marsh. second round pick in the 2019 draft. High expectations for this kid, and he's not a giant guy. Like he's you see some of these pictures of 6'5", 6'6", and this guy is 6'2", and supposedly not even that tall. And he had his first start of his major league career, and it didn't go well. It was at home versus the Dodgers. Dodgers beat him 9-3. He allowed 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 Ks. You can say that this is going to be an easier opportunity for him. In AAA and AA combined this year, he went 5-3 with a 4.62 ERA, 1.52 WHIP. So not very good numbers there. Did have 75 strikeouts and 62 and a third down in the minors. Oliver Page joining us. Nice to see you. DC Capper on the Twinkies -1.5. Lakeisha Sly taking the Twins at this -260 price. That's a very expensive price. Very, very expensive price for you. But Pablo Lopez coming off a really strong start. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, solo shot, 6 Ks, and 3 walks, 8-1 win at the Orioles. He has struggled at times this year. He looks better lately, but he struggled at home all year, which is the opposite of what we're used to when he was in the Marlins uniform. 47 innings, 5.94 ERA, 60 Ks, 16 walks, 246 opponents batting average. Royals are hitting just 231, 648 versus righty since June 1st, while the Twins 243, 722 OPS. Royals bullpen has been really bad, 5.82 ERA. Joe Yurkovich is on March over 4.5 Ks. Spenny Pennybaum's on Jose Miranda, RBI at +170. And Mike M says, I love the Twins here, but the issue with the run line is being the home team, bottom of the ninth. I can't lay runs and juice. Maybe -2 at +100. I hear that. That doesn't bother me because I always think you get, obviously you get a bigger price on the run line with the home team than you would with a road team. And I comfortably had the Astros at -1.5 yesterday with no concerns, but it was +100, so there was no vig. So I get that. But I always hear people uncomfortable with the run line home teams. I'm not one of them. Take it away for us here. Big Ragoo, Royals, Twinkies.
That's a great point. I was one of those guys that was always very uncomfortable taking a home team on the run line, but I've done it more this year so far. I mean, my record, I don't know how much my record, I got to go back and look at the numbers. I don't have them in front of me as far as success goes, according to show record. But anyways, long story short, I'm not afraid to lay run lines. They're playing different this year with home teams for whatever the reason. The rule changes, I think, has got a lot to do with it from a couple of years ago too. But like you said, Marsh, with these call-ups against, the top tier team in the Central right now is these Twins, with the only team that's a plus run differential here. And Lopez, that's the big shocker here is he had the better outing last out. He has his home struggles. Small sample size against some of these guys in the lineup versus the Royals, had some success, not the long ball, but, base hits and extra bases and whatnot, but they don't always equate to run. So you always have to take that with a grain of salt. But putting running in the score position, they are the third least team to score runs in the league. They graduated from, they did get an improvement. They were the second worst, now they're the third worst. So you got the Royals, and I think the A's, and who's the other team that's down the bottom. But I'm still not comfortable with run line here because of the price. If I'm laying runs with the team, I want to be like even money or on the plus side, especially on the home side of the park here. So I don't have the comfort with Lopez at home. I don't have the comfort with the Royals putting bats on the ball. So to take the total off, it's a lower total, I think, for a game like this. So a lot of hot wind for nothing. I'm passing.
Yeah, I don't. I can understand people believing these Twins bats of late, but I don't believe in them as a ball club.
Yeah,
and I don't want them at this price. But
yeah, it's way steep.
Looks like Lopez is turning the corner. If he has a really good start here, then he just probably needs to be back.
How you got to measure that start? I mean, you can measure it in a couple different ways. You have to go back and watch him. His pitch, the way he delivers, the way he comes across the plate. You can't really judge it against a weaker team, but I would say this wouldn't be a big yardstick for me for Lopez. I mean, if he gets shelled, he gets hit, and he has control issues, then but if he has good control and the stuff looks decent, then like you said, then you can go back and put this down as a quality start for him.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I'm off of Royals, Twinkies. Let's move on to the loan bet I made before the show started. I made it last night, and I was pretty upset that I've not beaten a line move here. I feel like I must be in trouble. I'd like to start tracking the the night before bets when the line doesn't move. And I bet you I have a negative ROI. The whole idea of getting in early is to beat these line moves. And the funny thing is when I bet this, the Cubs first 5 at Bet365 were minus 150. They were minus 166 at Pinnacle. I really thought, and I can do this at times, catch Bet365 being lazy. I really thought that I was catching them. Now, yes, the first 5 is minus 160, but I took the first 5 minus a half at minus 120, and that has not changed. And that makes me very nervous. I back Justin Steele. I get paid. And obviously that is affecting the way I'm just like, I just knew I wanted Justin Steele. I just wanted back Justin Steele. I watch him. He cashes. It's just clockwork. And so I'm back on Justin Steele here, and I'm uncomfortable that the line is not moving. So let's break this one down. Cubs, Brewers, American Family Field, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I expect the roof to be closed, but we should take a look at how hot it is in Milwaukee today. Oh, we have heavy rain off the top and light rain, so the roof will definitely be closed. Okay, there we go. So roof is closed. Let's take a look at the line history here in Milwaukee. This total is being moving towards the under. This opened up at 8.5, juice to the over. It's now at 8.5, juice to the under. The interesting part of all this was at 2:56 this morning, they moved it up to 9. So there was a move to the over with last night's action. Now it's moved to the under. So it's not as big of a slam dunk, although we can say the market's moving to the under. It's not this kind of slam dunk that one would expect. Then from the money line side of things, the Cubbies opened up minus 141. They're now minus 144. They were minus 153 at 10:06 this morning. That would make me feel much better. That's a 12-cent move. Right now we have a 3-cent move. That makes me nervous. Makes me very nervous. There's Millsy in the house. What up, Millsy? Morgan Spooner says great spot from after the All-Star snub, and his mentor Hendricks dealing yesterday from the other side. Yeah, I love that. Love that angle, Morgan. Darren Turner on with the Cubs first 5 with me. So, and Reclaim James Local has it pretty much where it is right now. Let's take a look at the cash flow, and please don't make me uncomfortable. I'm nervous about looking at this. 68% of tickets, 64% of the cash on the Cubs, 65% of tickets, and 95% cash on the over. Justin Steele was excellent in that last start. 10-1 win at home. That was against Quantrill, and we all cashed on it. 6 1/3, 3 hits, no around, 6 Ks, 1 walk. He's been fine on the road. I have no concern at all. 2.68 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 7 walks. Hauser, I really think that the reason why, Hauser is not, I don't believe the Brewers trust him at all. And we've seen guys like Jaime Barria. We've seen guys sort of hidden and not put in tough situations. And I really don't believe that they trust Hauser. At home, he's only throwing 17 1/3. He has a 4.67 ERA, 10 strikeouts, 8 walks. I mean, he's coming off a nice start at the Mets. And this was a guy I used to love backing at home. The Brewers are hitting lefties 237, 715. And there you go. Mike M saying Yelich goes yard tonight. Double up spot, 240 RBI and plus 600 homer. Yelich has, fantastic numbers against lefties, and, Steele being one of them. But I just keep making money off of Steele, and maybe it's making me lazy. Maybe it's making me cap lazy. I did think I was beating a market move. Cubs bullpen has been out pitching the Brewers bullpen. But here I am. This was the only bet I had coming into the show. Cubs, first 5, minus half, minus 120. Take it away, Doc. Cubbies, Brew Crew.
Yeah, if you want to back Steele on some type of pitcher prop, they're making it real expensive to do that. He's averaging about 1K per. His splits look really good, with that record, obviously. But his weaker number, if you want to call it weak, is night games on the road. It's like just under 4, like 3.76 ERA. So. And then I think Hauser's numbers are like up in the 4s. So maybe that total is a good look on the over. But my first look when I looked at this thing, I was peeling it back. I thought, like you said, Hauser, as you say in Canada, Hoser, right? I think his numbers are a little misleading. I think he, like you said, I don't think the trust is there with the Brew Crew for him. I think the bats would be better for the Cubs side on this spot here, and the run line. I'm not going to particularly get involved with that one because I think if Hauser does have a decent game and Steele does play back to the middle like he should, we could be looking at a sneaky first 5 under here. But I think over is probably full game. I think over is the play, but sneaky first 5 under, if that makes any kind of sense. But I was pulling both ways on this spot. I couldn't come to a conclusion, so I just stood away. And you do have the Cubs. They're 3-7 their last 10. They got a 1-game win streak. Where the Brewers have won like 7 out of the last 10 games they play. But this is probably a steal spot, like you said. You maybe I wouldn't say call it lazy. Just probably keep it simple for your benefit. The way you cap Steele and you've been successful with them. So, but like I say, around the All-Star break, a lot of stuff goes crazy. And this is a spot here that I leaned first 5 under, but got away from it. So it's a pass for me.
We have a pass. Jared Young, Homer, and Ribby for Spenny Penny Bombs. Morgan Spooner says if Nico leads off, he'll double down on this game. Says he expects to see Wisdom at third today, which is downgrade defensively, but you get a heavy top-loaded Cubs lineup. Darren Turner on the Cubs, first 5. I like it. And Troy saying Steele is the best lefty in the league. I wish I'd beaten the line move by 10 cents. I'd be sitting here counting my cash. I have a concern, but I got the Cubs first 5 -1/2 -120. All right, let's move on. This game I can't wait to watch. And Piker says he'll grab the 8.5 under -107 over at Barstool. Let's go 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Blue Jays, Chicago White Sox. We're at Guaranteed Rate Field. There's our guy BJ in the house. Great to see you, man. Lance Lynn over 5.5 strikeouts at -125 for Rocco Rogers. And DC Capper on Milwaukee +130. Look, I get the implied probability side of things, but and I would love to not have to take the -0.5. And, the first 3 was -155, first 5 -150. I actually thought about it, even though probably shouldn't have been. But let's talk here. Blue Jays, White Sox. What a ball game yesterday at Guaranteed Rate Field. It's funny. They were so the Rogers Center, which was the Sky Dome, was built in like 89 or so, 89, 90, something like that. And then Guaranteed Rate Field was built right after. And what horrible ballparks. Now they've made Guaranteed Rate Field better. They've renovated and fixed it. And it's the same with Toronto, but just horrific. Then all of a sudden, the next ballpark to be built was Camden. And Camden changed everything. Everybody wanted to build it just like Camden Yards. Camden Yards completely changed everything. What a gorgeous ballpark that is. But these 2 ballparks back-to-back built are just awful. Awful. All right, Barrios versus Lance Lynn. Let's break this down. Billy Fisher says, yep, Joe Kelly loses another game for the Sox. He did not look good out there, and we needed that jack from Vladdy Jr. badly. That was a 2-run jack to give the Jays a 4-3 lead. And Troy saying Guaranteed Rate is trash field. Both. I'd rather go to games at Guaranteed Rate Field than fucking Rogers Center. But no, then it says that Jays game was electric. A big Vladdy, then Romero dominance. We needed Jordan to strike out the side, get some confidence. But here we go. White Sox, Blue Jays here. Let's talk about the weather. And there's a rain issues here. I'm not sure. You know what? Let's just go out to the actual Chicago weather report and see if they think this game will go. Chicago weather. So if anybody's in Chicago right now, so we could let us know. Scattered thunderstorms start around 2 and thunder showers and showers. So this game may not go. So keep that in mind that this game may not go. It is, where is he? Here we go. It is 87 Fahrenheit. Feels like 92. It's sticky, 9 miles per hour in, and then it becomes out. Winds all over the place. Obviously, we're dealing with rain. Here we have Guaranteed Rate Deal plus 31% home runs, plus minus 19 doubles and triples. So it's just plus 8% overall. Then Deshaun G saying 74% chance of rain. DC Capper's on the over here. Barrios versus Lance Lynn. Let's take a look at the line history. This total opened up at 9. It's moving to the over. It opened up at 9 at minus 105 to the over, now minus 117. So 12-cent move to the over. And let's take a look at the total here. the money line for Barrios versus Lance Lynn. This opened up with the Blue Jays at minus 116. They're minus 115 right now. So there's been no movement. They did get as high as minus 124, low as minus 111, but there's been no movement. No movement on the side and a 12-cent move to the over. We'll pull up the cash flow here, see what they are saying. They're saying 62% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the Blue Jays. 94% cash on the Blue Jays and no movement. 75% of tickets and 90% cash on the over. I wish this was not a rain game because I think Barrios is laboring. I don't think he looks as good as he's been to start the year. And, that's all. I just don't think he's good. Vital says sharps are on White Sox, if that matters. I know why they are. And it's because the Jays simply don't have the left-handed bats to hurt Lance Lynn. If weather wasn't involved here, I would back the White Sox, and I would back Lance Lynn, who's coming off a bad start at the Angels. Look, Lance Lynn gets lit up by the Angels every time he goes up against them. They have left-handed bats that hurt him. We don't have left-handed bats in this lineup. So with all saying that, I don't know what the hell's going to happen with the rain here. Demetrius says sunny here as of now. Love that city they're in, Demetrius. Jays versus righties since June 1st, 249, 732 OPS. White Sox not hitting him either, 237, 18. It's just Robert Jr. or Robert, whatever you want to call him. It's just he's the only guy in the line. I mean, look at Berger out there. I mean, Berger has 4 singles since June 1st. I mean, yeah, he's hitting jacks, but this offense for the White Sox is not humming. But I think they can win this. Spending penny bombs on Gavin Sheets, homer. Alfred's on the Jays. Says Lance will be spent in this heat. I used to think that. Remember, I used to talk about, how sweaty his giant tits were going to be. And I've not really, I think he's handled it pretty well. I think the rain's going to keep me off of this, but I think the White Sox are very live first 5. Very, very live. Take it away for us here, Doc. Jays, White Sox.
Yep. I agree with your Barrios look. His best division record is against the AL Central. So, and we know what, like we said the American League East teams have feasted outside their division, but particularly Barrios has had better successes against this division here. But of late, I can't speak of, but I think he's like 3-1 on the year as a whole. But and I looked at some of the pitching props here. Like Barrios' numbers are pretty high. Actually, Lynn's numbers pretty high with the like 6.5, and Barrios' numbers are lower than that, but it's juiced way up. But he's averaging about 1 K per inning here. So if you get 6, you might get there. His numbers like set at 5.5. But as far as the total goes, both sides, I think 9 is probably the right number. I think it's a sharp number. If you go look at the splits on these guys, I think we'll see very close. You'll probably see like a 5-4 type game or 6-3 somewhere in that realm. But who's going to come out on top? See, that's where the problem lies for me. So I went back and forth with this one. I didn't want to get involved with the run line. Like I said, both teams are about 500, above 500 of late. Jays are in a better division with a winning record, not so much for the Sox. So I agree. I think the Sox are live with Cease on the bump here early on, but longer term, I would just say the weather conditions, I would lean like towards that sharp number, maybe towards the under spot early on, but late in the game, it could creep over. So I think the better bats are with the Jays here. Whether they get the Lynn early is the question mark. So I couldn't pull the trigger on either side. So I lean first 5 under, but I lean with the Jays too, full game. But I'm not going to get to the window with it. So just lean first 5 under, lean Jays.
I wish this game was going because I would bet the White Sox first 5 with a ton of confidence. It's just not the right matchup. I mean, look what happens when Lance Lynn faces, teams with weak lefties. He throws 16 strikeouts.
Yeah, well,
And
that explains why his number's way up there.
the lefties are hitting
6.5.
345 with a 1.054 OPS against them. So who's going to do that? Is Kiermaier going to get after him? I mean, I'm sure Belt and Varsho are going to be dangerous, but and Mike M says even if it wasn't 18-0 spit, he'd still fade Lance in his tits. Look, I get it. Spending penny bombs on Varsho and Kiermaier. Why not Belt? I thought Belt looked great yesterday. Why not Belt, Spenny? I'm going to copy and paste that. So the pimp slot play today is Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I think that the Blue Jays need to sweep this series after getting swept by the Red Sox, but I really think that Lance Lynn is going to have God. I'm not going to bet this after the show. I want to really have an idea of what the weather is going to be because I do not want to stop and start. So, but I like White Sox first 5. I think that the Brios is Mally Mal says Lance going to get smoked, Jimmy. Look, I prefer spots like this when everybody's on the other side. You know, I don't find my ROI that strong when we're all agreeing. So, you know, you guys can jump all over Lance Lynn getting smoked here. You know, while we do this, let's just go batter versus Lance Lynn because we know he's going to have a lot of history against all these guys. So let's pull it up. Let's pull it up here. And, you know, I also look, you guys know I kind of like Lance Lynn. I kind of like the Bulldog. I kind of like you know, his cockiness and bravado here. So that's a problem. I don't like when that, you know, when that kind of blinds me. But here, where the hell is this Jays game? Sorry, the wrong one came up. Here we go. Oh, God, sorry, you guys. Here we go. Blue Jays matchups here. And again, if the weather is bad, but look at what these guys' numbers are against Barrios. Tim Anderson hitting 282 against him. Benintendi 370. Berger 333. Jimenez 346. Vaughn 333. Sheets 300. And then the only guys that smash, well, Springer's hitting 294 against him, but it's just the left-handed bats. Like, look, Vladdy's hitting 200. Now, Bobo 286, but, you know, Vladdy and Bobo with 29 at-bats and no homers and 2 RBIs. Chapman's hitting 100 against him. I mean, do you even want Chapman in a lineup? So it's just the left-handed bats you need to worry about. So I'd like to be able to bet this here. And Sharpie says, I don't think this game goes today. And if it does, man, all these props scream trap. So, all right. And Justin McAfee says, I think my White Sox first 5 yesterday was a day early. Says, want to go back to it today. So do I. But this is fun. It's fun when we're not on the exact, you know, same side and all that stuff. So if you guys are fading Lance Lynn and you're right, you know, I'll be watching and I'll be pissed off. So at least you guys know that. Okay, let's move on. I want White Sox first 5. And I just want to wait a little bit for weather. 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, Los Angeles Angels 45-43, 22-23 on the road at San Diego Padres 40-46, 22-22 at home. Petco Park at San Diego, California. I think that we'll never be able to fade Ohtani with as much confidence as we did yesterday. I don't know if we'll ever get that opportunity again, ever. It was great. It was absolutely great. And now the Angels are self-destructing. And I hate it for our friend Wine Time Sports, but I love it for my under bet on the Angels season win total. And I love saying, you know, they're going to break down like they do every year and to watch them do it. Rendon got hurt yesterday too. Maybe that will help them getting Rendon off the field. Let's start with the weather. And look at these Padres fans, man. They're still selling out every game. Even their team is a bunch of sellouts. We have 67 Fahrenheit, 8.9 miles per hour, left to right, slightly in. It dies down to 7.5 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the weather here at Petco. Plus 4% homers, a -9 doubles and triples, and -3% runs. So let's pull up the line history here for this one. I mean, every time the Padres win, they look good doing it. And you're like, God, this team's going to go on a run.
Mm-hmm.
God. Padres opened up minus 171. They're now minus 175. They got up to minus 184. Only 4 cents of movement towards the Padres. Then we'll move over to the total. In other sports, other team sports, and I don't believe baseball is a team sport. In other team sports, there's injuries and they come together. They rally together. I don't see that as much in baseball. This total opened up at 9. Within 30 minutes was at 8.5. And then this morning got down to 8. Bounced from 8.5 to 8. It's sitting at 8.5 right now, just to the under. So we have a very slight move to the Padres. We have a move to the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if it will give us confidence to pull the trigger on something. 34% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Angels. Wow. 66% of cash and 66% of tickets and 87% cash on the over. And yeah, it's moving to the under. Wild. I don't think Ohtani's going to play North Ender, but I don't know about that. Vital says Padres have their own problems, but at minus 180, no thank you. Can't find an angle that makes sense with this juice. That's completely fair. And Billy Friedrich says, talk about breaking down. Sandoval had a terrible June. I think it continues here. Padres first 5. Sandoval got lit up at home by the White Sox. That was against Lance Lynn in the last start. Sandoval 4.57 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. He's not looked good. He did look good in Kansas City for one start, but he's back. Still looking bad. He's been much better on the road than he's been at home, though. 3.76 ERA, 238 opponent's batting average. Seth Lugo has looked good since coming back from the IL. Nice start at the Reds. Didn't allow an earned run over 6 innings. 3.59 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. He's been worse at home than the road, but I think the sample size is too small. Angels 261, 827 versus righties. Padres 256, 792 versus lefties, and both bullpens have been bad. Eric Jones looking at the under here says Angels are 1-8 to the under here. Also, when as a away team coming off 3 overs. Billy Friedrich says Sandoval giving up 4.2 runs per start in his last 5 home starts. And Chris Comentini saying the Padres hit lefties hard. They do. Take it away for us here, Doc. Angels, Padres.
Yeah, a lot of push and pull here again. Lugo's last 3, I guess they're winless with the Pods with him on the bump. And that's a low number, but, you got to attribute that to possibly the Angels lineup or, being a little less potent here. And then also, maybe they say, hey, Sandoval's going to throw a good game here, to hold the Padres down, because you would think that the Padres would smash in this spot here, just like you said, they look great. You think they're turning the corner, and then all of a sudden they shit the bed. So I don't trust either team in this spot here, just because of the fact, I'm not sure about Sandoval. I'm not going to be sure about the Angels lineup. So, as far as, playing into a total, that kind of pulls me off everything. And then being winless the last 3 with Lugo coming up, coming back. So this game is going to be a pass for me. I'm going to stay off totally.
Yeah. The Angels role players are not succeeding, but they do have a lot of character, and there's sharp money on the Angels. I just don't want to go up against them. I
mean, they are still alive for the wild card. They're just. I think they're in the mode of hey, let's get to the break. Let's keep damage control down. Let's get to the break. Let's get some rest. Let's get some players back. I mean, they're going to play obviously, but they're kind of like one of these teams. These big money teams, or not even these big market teams, but these teams these playoff bound teams that they just try to hold water, so they can turn around and get healthy and then kind of make a run. So I think that's where the Angels are at right now. They're forcing their hand right here at this instance. So I think, it's not a team that you really want to get behind, but at the same time, they, like you said, some of the players come through in clutch times and win. So this could be a dangerous spot for either team. I couldn't get to the window. I don't trust the Padres, and I don't trust the Angels here in this spot. So
I'm with you. I do not feel comfortable here. Mally Mal says Seth Lugo hates seeing this dude on the mound. Completely never know what you get from him. Yeah, and the Mets didn't want him, and he was, at a nice price point, and they still didn't want him. Let's move on. 9:05 p.m. Eastern. We have 3 games left on the card before we get into WNBA and NBA Summer League action. Our man Billy Brisbane joining us. He's got action on WNBA and Summer League. Let's go to Seattle Mariners, 42-42, 18-22 on the road at San Francisco Giants, 46-40, 23-21 at home at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Tommy Malone back in the majors. God, how is this guy not 40 something? He's 36. How am I 7 years older than Tommy Malone? I just couldn't believe that. I was Tommy Malone back in the majors, and this is the perfect ballpark for him. Perfect ballpark. 59 Fahrenheit, 13.3 miles per hour to left center. Stays between 13.3 and 13. Despite that, it's minus 33% home runs, minus 11% runs here. And Tommy Malone's capable of getting soft contact here. Very capable. And Alex Cobb is being unbelievably good at home. So this is a very, very, very interesting spot here. And I wanted to talk it out before I bet it. First off, on the money line, these Giants opened up minus 149. They're now minus 168. So 19 cents of movement to the San Francisco Giants. 19 cents of movement to the Giants. Then we go to this total. This total opened up at 8.5 and dropped to 8 at 9:30. Only at 8:15 a.m. So it dropped to 8 at 9:35, back to 8.5, back to 8, saying 8.5. And it's funny with it dropping to 8 3 or 4 times, you'd think this market had moved to the under, but right now it hasn't. It's 6 cents of movement to the over, which is interesting. A DC capper on San Francisco minus 1.5 and the over 8.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 34% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on the Mariners. The books are showing no concern. The market moving, heavily towards the Giants. Then you have 70% of tickets and 64% of cash on the over. 70 and 64 on this over. Rocco Rogers says, figuring out how to back Cobb here, probably first 5. Tommy Malone made one start in April, and it was fine. It was decent. This guy gets soft contact. I mean, he also can get lit up when he faces teams that hit lefties, but the Giants don't have a ton of power versus lefties. They hit lefties okay, 269 average, but just 717 OPS since June 1st. It's better than the Mariners hitting righties. But Tommy Malone had one start. It was at home. It was against the Rockies. Went 4 2/3, allowed 1 earned run, solo shot, 3 Ks and 2 walks. Then he goes down to the minors, and he's been solid enough there. 3-1 with a 4.47 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Has 46 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 50 1/3. He has allowed 12 jacks. I mean, when you can get on him, you can destroy him. But he gets a ton of soft contact. And look at Cobb's numbers at home. 37 2/3, 1.43 ERA. He's allowed 1 home run at home. Mariners versus righties, 223, 708 OPS. Giants versus lefties, I went over that already. Mariners bullpen looks bad right now. 5.28 ERA. Only Munoz is the only guy you can trust coming out of that pen right now. Take it away for us here, Doc. Look, I'm interested in this first 5 under. I think Malone can do enough in this big ballpark. But you can't bet an under with Tommy Malone on mound with a ton of confidence. But I kind of like it. Take it away for us here, Mariners.
What about this angle? If you think Malone's going to throw a pretty good, first 5, saying that he gives up soft contact, and then also with what's his name, Cobb having his last 4 they have won all 4 of those starts, but he only got credit with 1 win, so it tells you he's playing in tight games here. I mean, I think a half a run looks good for the Mariners in the first 5 with a low price. I think that was my look actually. I like the M's getting a half a run in the first 5 at like a minus 105. I think it's going to go a long way. I think with that 8 hanging there, first 5 is going to play into the a close game early on. So I'll take the M's and Malone getting a half a run.
Yeah, I get it. Joe Yurt's on the Mariners team total over 3.5. I get it completely. Let's see what
that, just because of the total, with the 8 and just the AAA call up, he's pretty decent down there. Cobb, like you say, only getting credit with the 1 win, and even though they won the last 4 games when he was on the bump, I think and the M's are capable. I think there is some good contact against Cobb too. If you look at some of the key hitters in the lineup versus Cobb, they have some success against them. So if all they got to just put like 1 or 2 runs up early on, I think I was thinking about the money line, but I said, you know what? I think it's a pitcher's duel early on. Let me take the half run and put that in my pocket.
Yeah, and you're going to get a decent price here, plus a half, plus 104 at Pinnacle.
Yeah.
So it sticks with your plus money line. So let's lock that in for you. Ragu is on the Mariners first 5 plus a half at plus 104. I want the first 5 under, but with Malone, you know, if you use the eye test, I mean, what's he throw? 86 miles an hour? If you use the eye test, he looks bad, and you know that they're just champing at the bit to face him a second time. So this first 5 is at 4.5. I want to see what this first 3 is at. First 3 under 2.5 at minus 115. That is what I am going to do here. Let me just go over the cash flow once more. So we have 29 and 35 on the under. It's at 8 right now. Bet 365. I'm going to do this. So I'm going to be on the Seattle, San Francisco first 3 under 2.5 at minus 115. Cashed this yesterday in the White Sox Jays game. My first 3s have been very strong. And Mal grabbing the over 8 of this one. I get it. I like it. All right. Let's move on. Oh, it's spending penny miles on Lamont Wade. RBI at plus 185. Let's copy and paste that, as well as Joe Yurkovich's action. Joe is on the Mariners team total over 3.5. Eric Jones on the over in this one. All right. So let's lock this in. And here we go. North Ender says looks to be heading up. You might get a better number later. Over 8 minus 125 now at bet 365. You know what? I think that's all based on the Mariners bullpen struggles. And like, look, what did we see on Monday? Monday, I cashed the first 5 under 3.5 easily. 7 runs were scored in the 9th inning. Easily, I shouldn't say that. It was, the 3 runs were scored in the 5. I was very thankful to catch the first 5 under 3.5. But then 7 runs were scored in the 9th inning. The Mariners bullpen is not to be trusted, and I think that's going to be part of the reason why the total will go up. I don't think the first 5 total will change that much. But I don't want the lineup to see Malone a second time, and it wouldn't surprise me if they bring in a pit. They bring, like, Malone only goes 2.5 innings or something like that. Okay, but Ragu and I are locked in. So is spending penny bombs. Lamont Wade, RBI, Joe Yurkovich, Mariners team total over 3.5. Ragu's on the Mariners first 5 plus 0.5, and I'm on Seattle, San Francisco first 3 under 2.5. All right, let's go. 2 games left on today's card. Before we get into basketball, New York Mets 39 and 46, 19-27 on the road at the Arizona Diamondbacks 15-36, 24 and 21 at home at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Kodai Senga going up against Tommy Henry. We thought Kodai Senga was going to pitch yesterday. Instead, it was Scherzer, who did not look very good. We know the roof will be closed, so let's go into the line history here. We'll start with the full game money line, see what we are dealing with here. We have the Diamondbacks opening up at minus 109. Oh, excuse me. There's been a huge move to them. God, I didn't realize this. Diamondbacks opened up at plus 109. They're now minus 110. 19 cents of movement to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's go over to this total. This total opened up at 9.5. Oh, shoot, that's Sports Interaction. I want Pinnacle. Sorry, go over to Pinnacle. This total opened up at 9.5 as a pick'em. 5 cents of movement on the under. 5 cents of movement on the under. Okay. So let's see what the cash has to say about this. This huge move to the Diamondbacks. 69% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the Diamondbacks, and they've gone from road to favorite. Then 41% of tickets, 54% of money on the under. Senga last start at home, 5-2 loss versus the Brewers. He went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. He's looked bad, or worse, let's say, much worse on the road. 3-3, 4.58 ERA, 44 Ks, 24 walks, and 5 homers, 247 opponents' batting average. Tommy Henry starting to pitch really well, taking that opportunity that was open when Bumgarner got dumped. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 8 Ks, 2 walks, 6-2 win at the Angels, and the Angels hit lefties decent. 4.08 ERA, 1.35 whip on the year, but those numbers are getting better. At home, he's been better than he's been on the road. 1-1 with 3.50 ERA. Just 22 Ks and 13 walks, but he's been pitching better and better. Mets aren't hitting lefties, 214, 701 OPS. Diamondbacks are hitting righties, 269, 803. And the Diamondbacks have a bullpen advantage. I mean, if you think Tommy Henry is a better pitcher or on line with Kodai Senga, everything else seems to be pointing in the direction of the Diamondbacks. Is Ragu pointing in the direction of the Diamondbacks? Take it away, Ragu. Mets, Diamondbacks.
I'm pointing in the direction of Diamondbacks, but I'm pissed off. I missed the move, so that's kind of keep me off it a little bit. But I don't want to chase the end of a rocket, catch a burning end. But you know what? It's really not that big of a price, regardless, however you look at it. But yeah, Henry's been great. I mean, a little higher ERA, 4.08, which is not bad. Just that's average league average, but they win. They put runs up. So maybe a look here would be like a team total for the D-backs, because the Mets, they don't hit lefties. They struggle. They hit just barely above 200, and Henry's been really, really good. So I would have a look towards a team total for the D-backs. I think Senga, even though his numbers are decent, he's pitching better of late too. But he's still under 4, so it's a 500 pitcher. But Arizona at home has been pretty good, and they hit righties pretty well at home too. So I would look towards a team, a lean, not a play, a lean towards Arizona team total over, because I missed that move at the plus money, so that puts me off the game.
Also, there's 15 cents of difference at Bet365 on Arizona full game compared to first 5. Arizona first 5 is minus 105, full game minus 120. I'm surprised at that. That makes me nervous to back.
Yeah,
the Diamondbacks here. Wow.
Good look there, Jim.
That's that is certainly not going to be a double up spot with that. Do you want to look at the team total? Do you want me to look at the team total over for the Diamondbacks? Or are we going to?
Yeah, I'd be interested.
The team total for the Diamondbacks, 4.5 minus 108.
I'll pass.
All right. I minus 120. I'll have to see what Bet Online's offering, because I can't. I'm like Ragu. I can't take that market move. I can't be this late on this spot.
I chase once in a while, but today not so much.
Well, what I would do is, if I was chasing, is I would take the -1. Still get a plus line out of it, and then push if they win by a run.
That might not be a bad look.
So I'm gonna look into this a little more and see if I can get a better line at a couple other books.
I didn't. When I came into this card, I have a few more plays that I anticipated. If I didn't have as many plays, I would have probably, maybe went for the -1 or the team total. But I don't. I think Arizona's capable of putting, five spot up here, but I don't want to bet on it. But I think they can do it.
The Bookie Buster play of the day from DC Cappers, Arizona money line -115. All right, let's talk about the final game on our board here before we move on to WNBA and NBA Summer League. Pittsburgh Pirates, Los Angeles Dodgers, Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Pittsburgh 18-24 on the road. Dodgers 25-16 at home. Pirates coming off a big win last night, predicted by our Lamont Williams. Let's take a look at the weather here at Chavez Ravine. 65 Fahrenheit, 9.4 miles per hour out to right field. Stays between 9.4 and 7.6. Pull up Ballpark Pal and see what their thoughts are at Dodger Stadium. Plus 7% home runs, minus 4% runs. Let's pull up the line history here for our final game on the board. We'll start with the money line with Miller and the Dodgers. They're sitting at -2. They opened at 235. They're now -250. So 15 cents of movement to the Dodgers. Let's take a look at the total here. We have it opening up at 9 -107. It's now 9 -105. So no movement on the total. 15-cent move towards the Dodgers. Let's take a look at the cash flow. 18% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Pittsburgh Pirates. They always seem to play well against these Dodgers. 23% of the tickets and 58% of cash on the under, but no movement. But I guess that's because there's so much public money on the over, but sharp money on the under. We have Osvaldo Bido going up against Bobby Miller. Bido coming off an ugly start at home versus the Brewers. They don't trust Bido. We can go over his numbers in the minors. Bobby Miller, on the other hand, has struggled at home for whatever reason. Really nice starts on the road, but even last start on the road, he started out so well, and it's been a little tougher for him of late. At home, though, 5.82 ERA, opponents hitting 262 against them. Pirates are hitting just 236.58 versus righties, but they have Reynolds back. Dodgers hitting 252, 741 versus righties. This is all from June 1st, and the Pirates bullpen being bad, 5.25 ERA. So is the Dodgers at 4.46 ERA since June 1st. take it away for us here, Doc. Last game on the board, Pirates Dodgers.
You're right about these Pirates. They're pesky to these Dodgers. Seems like every time they meet up with it, especially when they cross country play on the West Coast. But I think Beto is definitely fade material here. Miller's numbers they're decent, but I guess the question is, what do you think Pittsburgh's capable of doing? Because we're looking at hanging a 9 on this game here. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at like a 6-3 type of game for the Dodgers if they get there. So I think the team total for Pittsburgh's like 3.5. So I think he's hittable though. I think Miller's hittable, and I think Pittsburgh swings. They're a dangerous team with the bats. They can put cricket numbers up. They do it more often than not. So I'm gonna take a plunge on this. I'm gonna take the Pirates on a shorter number, 3.5, to get over that number. And I'm getting some plus money here. So give me the Pirates to get to Miller and put some numbers on the board. The team total over 3.5.
Jack Rosenblatt rolling with you on this team total plus 106.
Yeah.
All right. Lock that in for Doc. Ragu.
That's for the nightcap.
Pirates. Team total over 3.5. Plus 106. I like that. Not only are the Dodgers bullpen being weak, but not only is that happening, but also they're taxed. They're tired bullpen as well. The dude who blew the save last night, that was his 3rd consecutive appearance. Let me see what I'm getting here. I'd be very interested to see what I would be offered. I mean, I'll look at BetOnline too, but here at Bet365 minus 110 on that team total. I like that team total.
Yeah, I don't trust the Dodgers. But I know Beto's fade material, but the Dodgers, if you look at what their run production, it's not what it's been over the past few years. They're a little down on production offensively, but I mean, like I say, Beto's fade material. But I like that look on the Pirates better. I think Miller would be vulnerable and the bullpen too. So.
And Beto's numbers were a little better than I remembered it in Indianapolis. For some reason, I thought they were ugly, but they're not that bad. I think what happened was I think I got tied into even his Dominican numbers were good in the Winter League. He is a Dominican kid, but 4.55 ERA, 1.30 WHIP in Indianapolis this year. For some reason, I thought they were worse numbers than that.
Yeah.
I like that. Piker on the full game over 9. I like that. I'm gonna get involved. With that.
Miller's numbers over the last 15 and a third, 9.39 ERA.
Yeah, it has not looked good. All right, let's review all action, Doc. And if you want to add anything, just tag me on Twitter. I'll retweet it. But tell me if you want to add anything here. This is all action here. Let's roll. So first off, we stayed off of Rockies, Astros. Spenny's on the Kyle Tucker homer and RBI. Amali Mal tying France 4Ks and the Astros first 5 over as well. So then Ragu is on the Tigers minus 1.5, minus 106. I'm going to look more at that spot. Spenny looking at Max Muncy home run as well. So then Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today's Tampa Bay minus 1 plus 116. Razor gave us the Phillies money line plus 120. I'm off that spot. So is Doc. Cardinals Marlins, we are off. The gift from TJ is the Yankees plus 110. Razor also gave us the Yankees. Ragu is also on the Yankees. Team total over 4.5. At this point, the Randy Vasquez question marks are going to keep me off. The hip to be square play today is in Houston and Minnesota at plus 108. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mikey. Copy and paste that. Get that right there. All right. So then as we roll through, I tailed this first 5 under 5.5 in Cincinnati, Washington. I wanted to bet it immediately. I had a feeling like it was going to go drop. Even though all the money's on the over, but it's still available right there. Under 5.5 minus 120. Thank you, AOD, my man. So first 5 under 5.5. Ragu got the minus 116. I'm on the minus 120. The ribeye play today from Mike M. Spencer Steer at plus 175. And Spenny also on the Steer homer and RBI prop. Oh, and by the way, Stimmy OG's on the Nationals money line and the Blue Jays money line. So Spenny Penny Bombs has Matt Olson, Acuna, and Naylor for homers. Londo has Soroka to have 4 or more strikeouts in Atlanta to win at plus 200, but I'm off the Braves Guardians game. Ragu's on the under 10 in Texas, Boston. Spenny's on Josh Young, home run plus 525 and RBI plus 155. Morgan Spooner on the Rangers, first 5 minus a half at plus 115. Stacks play of the day is Buxton for over 1.5 bases plus 108, and Royals Twins. We are off that one. I'm on the Cubs first 5 minus a half minus 120. I'm nervous that the line hasn't moved in that direction. Spenny Penny Bombs on Jared Young, homer plus 500, and Weimer, homer plus 650. And Mike M's on Yelich to go yard, a double up spot, 240 RBI plus 600 homer. I want the White Sox first 5. I really do. I think this is a perfect lineup for him to face, but I'm going to take a little bit more time on it. Spenny Penny Bombs on Varsho, homer, Kiermaier, RBI, Vaughn, RBI, Gavin Sheets, homer. And the pimp slap play today is the Toronto Blue Jays. Cashed with it yesterday, going back to the well. Rocco Rogers moving on Lance Lynn, over 5.5 Ks. Angels, Padres, we stayed off. Ragu's on the Mariners, first 5 plus a half plus 104. I'm on the first 3 under 2.5 minus 115. Spenny Penny Bombs on Lamont Wade, RBI plus 185, and Joe Yurkovich on the Mariners, team total over 3.5. And then I'm interested in the Diamondbacks. DC Capper Bookie Buster play of the day is the Diamondbacks. Ragu's on the Pirates, team total over 3.5, and I'm tailing him on that one. Anything else that you would like to add to the card, Doc?
Did you get me on the Yankees at plus 101 on the money line?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's enough.
It is so great to be back in action with you.
Yeah.
I know that you've begun your study for college football. This is also our first year champion of our NFL Pub Hub. And last year, I believe you came third. I want to say third behind Bobano and Spenny, but you were right there. As always, what a great capper you are, my friend. Thank you for making the time for us. It means so much to us.
Anytime I got time, count me down. Put my watch in.
I love it.
Hang out with you guys. I missed Jose's show Sunday because I had some shit come up, but I'll be back on with him shortly. And then, of course, always check out what we got going on down the hall at Who Banging.
Of course, yeah, you're a big part of Who Banging, absolutely. And please follow Ragu on Twitter at Big Ragoo62. Big Ragoo62. There he is, Doc. Doc running with us. Nate Cernas is getting me in there. Look, Nate, we always want to give cappers that run with us a voice. So if you'd like to jump, if anybody out there watching wants to be a part of this on-camera squad here at Pub Sports Radio, just hit me with the Twitter DM. All right, it is time to move on to basketball. Here we go. And Mike M says Correa wins the first set. Let's get this plus 700 cash. I love it, Mikey. Let's bring on our basketball expert here at Pub Sports Radio. He's got WNBA action and NBA Summer League action for us. Please welcome South Jersey in the house, Billy Brisbane. What up, Brizzy? How are you, my man?
Man, been better, been worse, Jim. Been better, been worse.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you, man. It's nice to have you. Let's get ready to cap here. Let me just switch over to WNBA market moves. Here we go. WNBA up and Adam. Let's roll, my friend. Okay, and let me move this over here. Interesting card, and nice to hear your Summer League action. I know both of these sports that you're capping right now, there's monstrous market moves. So you got to get in touch and follow our guy, Brizzy, if you want to be ahead of these market moves. It is crucial to do that. But let's get started. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern with the Phoenix Mercury at the New York Liberty. Phoenix Mercury 3-12, 1-6 on the road. New York Liberty 11-4, 5-2 at home. We're at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The Mercury got a win at home over Indiana, a big one by 22 points. Follow that up with another loss against the Lynx by 10 points. That was on the 1st of July. So they had a bit of a break. That was on Saturday action. For the Liberty, they bounced back off that 17-point loss at Las Vegas by beating up on Seattle on Sunday, 81-66. This opened up with the Liberty as huge favorites. We're going to use Bet Online for openers and closers here. Don't forget of our link on our website, give you a match up to $1,000, 100% match up to $1,000 if you use Pub Sports as your promo code. This opened up with New York at -14. They're now up to -15.5. So opened up. Oh, looks like we Lost Brizzy there. Oh no, there he's back in action. All right. Okay. We good.
People
Beautiful.
keep on fucking calling me, man.
You're a popular dude, man. You're a popular dude. All right, minus 14 now, minus 15 and a half here. And from a total side of things, move over here. We have this opening up a high and climbing. So this opened up at 163 and a half. We're all the way up to 167. So a huge move to the over. Take it away for us, Brizzy. Mercury, Liberty.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the odds makers. They opened up this game at minus 12.5 point favorites for the Liberty, and that number quickly went up to 14.5, now sitting at minus 15.5. And even the total went up a little bit, 167.5 currently right now, different on screen. But understandably so, man. Grinder's been great this year, but the Liberty match up very well against Brittany Grinder. Grinder and Jacquel Jones are former teammates over there in Russia, so if there's one person in the WNBA that knows how to play Brittany Grinder, it's probably going to be Jacquel Jones, despite the height discrepancy. In 13 regular season games in the WNBA, Grinder's only averaging 12.6 points versus Jacquel Jones, only going over 20 points once and 44% from the field, which is really bad for her. The Mercury are 2-8 ATS. And straight up last 10 with both wins over the Indiana Fever. We were on that one last time we were on the show. And furthermore, they're 0-6 ATS last 6 games versus a team with a winning record. And some trends would imply bettors to take the over here in this game. The Mercury are 5-2 to the over last 7 games versus a team with a winning record, hence why the number went up a little bit. But from a basketball perspective, Stewart and Jones, I think they're going to lock up this Mercury offense. So if Brittany Grinder goes under her point prop, where did the points come from the Mercury side? I really don't know. I mean, Diana Taurasi's looking all of 40 years old. Everybody else, Sophie Cunningham's in and out of the lineup with injury. Lexi Brown's missed 7 straight games. That's in the later game. Mercury, though, there's just not a team I'm really too high on. We talked about this the last time that they were on the slate, but it was more of a spot scenario. More of they're going to play for their new head coach. But I lean towards the first half under here, 83.5, minus 112, and Brittany Grinder under 20.5 points, minus 136. But no official moves in this one. This is not a game I really was too high on. But I know the Liberty are a popular team, so people are probably wanting to hear the breakdown.
There's lots of opportunities for action, so no need to force anything. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern, Indiana Fever, 5-11, 4-6 on the road. Minnesota Lynx, 7-9, 2-5 at home. We're at Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Last saw Fever losing their 4th straight game at home versus Chicago, 89-87, tight one. That was on Sunday. On Saturday, the Lynx won their 3rd straight game. The one we talked about, Phoenix losing 86-76. And again, that was their 3rd straight win. They beat Seattle back to back. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We'll start off with the total as it's up here. This is another total that opened very high and has just climbed. This one opened up at one. All these totals are climbing. 163.5, now up to 165.5, and sidewise for this one, Indiana, Minnesota. This opened up with the Lynx as 1-point favorites, and they're now 2-point favorites. So not a ton of movement here, but a 1-point move towards the Minnesota Lynx. Take it away for us, Fever Lynx, Target Center.
Yeah, I expect a high-scoring affair between these two ball clubs. Both these teams are allowing the most made and attempted three-pointers in the last 5 games. The Fever are 6-1-2 ATS last 9 road games, but the recent form is bad, man. Not a team I've really been too high on this year. I know a lot of bettors have made money on the Fever start off the year, but not of recent. They've lost 6 out of their last 10 games. The Lynx are 3-0 since their first-round draft pick, Diamond Miller, returned back to the lineup. In their first meeting, they blew a 4-point lead going into the 4th quarter and lost by 2 points. The Fever's numbers are highly subjective ATS-wise due to how big the numbers were in the beginning of the season. I mean, you're asking the Fever to win the game here at +1.5. It's different than back them at +5.5 and +6 where they were in the beginning of the season. Now they're asking to them to win ball games, which a team that I really don't really want to put my money on to really win ball games. I mean, I'd rather back a team that's on a 3-game win streak, better form right now. They got their draft pick back. The Fever are one of the worst first scoring teams in the WNBA. They've only averaged 22 points in their last 5 quarters, while the Lynx are a fast starter. So give me the Minnesota Lynx here, first quarter money line here at -120.
Let's get that for you. Lynx first quarter money line. You got -120. I'm gonna line shop, see if I can beat that for you. But we have our guy Brizzy locked in. First spot on the board for him to get cake. Lynx first quarter money line. Roll on to late games, 10 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Wings 8-8, 2-6 on the road at Las Vegas Aces, 15-1, 9-0 at Michelob Ultra Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's pull up the line history for this one. We have the Aces, as always, big favorites. They opened up at -14.5. They're now sitting at -14. So a slight move to the Wings. Take a look at the total here for this one. We have it opening up at, I think, 175. Let me verify. No, opening up. 175. This got up to 177 last night, but it's dropped back to 175.5. So a half-point move to the over and a half-point move towards Dallas as big dogs at Michelob Ultra Arena. Take it away for us, Brizzy. Wings, Aces.
Yeah, I mean, a common theme on the show is no bet, but it's the Aces or pass for me. The Wings are 1-7-1 ATS in our last 9 games following an ATS win. Total-wise, I kind of lean towards the over. I mean, the Aces are just putting up points on the board. I mean, 90-plus points in 9 out of their last 10 games, which is really high for WNBA. The over in their games have been 4-1 in their last 5 games. The scary part of the bet, though, is expecting the Wings to do their part. I mean, the under is 4-1 in the last 5 games for the Wings, and they're 7-3-1 in games versus winning teams towards the under this year. So probably would isolate it with the Las Vegas team total over, but I'm just going to leave that one as a lean in pass game for me.
Wings, Aces, we are passing. Let's move on to the final stop on our WNBA board before we get into NBA Summer League action. Also, we're not breaking down every NBA Summer League games, just the games that our guy Brizzy has action on. So 3 spots there in NBA Summer League. But we have Atlanta Dream next up, 7-8, 4-3 on the road at Los Angeles Sparks, 7-10, 5-4 at home. We're at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. We have the Dream on a 2-game winning streak. That was fresh off of a losing streak. They lost badly at Washington. They bounced back and beat them by 5 points at home and followed that up by beating LA badly, 112-84 on Sunday. So 2-game winning streak for the Dream. And this is who they're facing, LA. LA has lost 3 straight. They lost to the Sky back-to-back, then lost at Atlanta, and now are at home versus the very team that just beat them. Total-wise, this opened up at 168.5. It looks like. Let me verify that. No, it opened up. Oh, yes, it opened up 168.5, but it dropped down to 165.5. We're back 3 points to 168.5 where it started. So we've got no movement on the total, but keep in mind that the initial move was towards the under. From a point spread side of things, this opened up as a pick'em. Open up pick'em. Yes, open up a pick'em. Now it's 1.5 point favorites for Las Vegas. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. The last game on the WNBA board, Dream Sparks.
Yeah, had a weird ending to my weekend. After the UFC stream on Saturday, went out to Philadelphia to the Ritz-Carlton, stayed there for a couple of days, went down to Xfinity Live Casino, came back home, and there was no fucking Wi-Fi. Don't know how the fuck that happened, but I backed the Dream on Sunday at the casino, parlayed them up, had them in all my bets and stuff like that. So kind of more of a stay-off game for me. I kind of lean towards the this is a trap spot game. I mean, the Sparks are banged up again, but they get Jordan Canada back for this one. And it just feels like after a team just blew them out on Sunday, now they're 1.5 point underdogs. Seems very Vegas trap spotty. I mean, if you look at the Sparks record this year, 5 out of their 7 wins for the Sparks this year have been at home. So those numbers kind of lean towards the Sparks winning the game, but you're asking me to lay the price with the LA Sparks at home. It's just not in the business that I really want to get into. For the prop market, got to grade out a couple of things, but I'm definitely leaning and more than likely playing De'Erica Hamby over 10.5 points. She's the main beneficiary of the lack of depth in the Sparks front court. Netgate's twin sister is out of the lineup for this one. And De'Erica Hamby, she was pregnant coming into the season. Or she just got done pregnancy going into the season, literally like a week and a half, 2 weeks off of pregnancy. She was in the starting lineup for the Sparks, and she's played good this year. And of recent, in the last 2 games, she's really been getting the roll on and probably shedding off a couple of those. I'm not a biologist or anything like that, but I would imagine if you're coming off of 2 weeks of pregnancy, it probably takes you a couple of weeks or 2 to get your feet under you in the beginning of the season. And she's been rolling of recent. She had 18 points on that Sunday game versus Atlanta. She's gone over point prop in back-to-back games. She was second on the team in points, second on the team in rebounds, and she's been getting a lot more usage, more of like the second offensive piece that they've been using in the Sparks offense since some of their injuries. Shouts to Lexi Brown. Don't know if she's pregnant or not, but I would imagine if you're missing 8 straight games from a non-COVID illness and you're a female WNBA basketball player, more times than likely or not, and you're attractive, you're probably pregnant. So kind of want to lean off of betting the Sparks games without Lexi Brown in the lineup. That's a huge part for me. But do like De'Erica Hamby over 10.5 points. Her husband's an NBA basketball trainer, so she's got a lot of moves in the bag, and I think she can use some of those moves in the bag for this game here at 10.5 points. But not an official bet for me. If I do move on, it would probably be more of a half unit type of bet.
You got it. We got a lot of Summer League action in the NBA next. The only official play in this WNBA card for record-keeping purposes for our guy Brizzy is the Lynx first quarter money line. Follow him on Twitter at gettingbills_ to see if there's any additions. Let's move on to NBA Summer League here. Is there a site that I can follow the line movements on this?
I could tell you where the line movements
okay, you just because you tell, of course, because you know exactly. Okay, of course, because you take pictures of them right off the top. That's okay. I could start doing that. Okay, so perfect. So I'm not going to be able to set much of a table for our guy Brizzy here in NBA Summer League, and I've not been watching it closely. Now it's just started out. We got 2 spots here in Sacramento and 1 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Tori Coker with some NBA Summer League parlay here. He's got Spurs money line, Heat money line, OKC money line. But let's start with a game that Tori doesn't have that you are on, Brizzy. That's the Golden State Warriors, Charlotte Hornets here, or I should say versus Charlotte Hornets here at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. Take it away for us here. Floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, we'll be quick with these NBA Summer League games. There's 2 ways to really look at this game, in my opinion. I mean, Charlotte could be looking ahead to Friday's primetime rematch versus the Spurs. That game's going to be on ESPN. Wemby's going to be playing in that one. But how I'm looking at this game is they need to find chemistry first before playing the Spurs on Friday. I mean, they got completely embarrassed in that first game versus the Spurs without Wemby in the lineup. They got absolutely smoked off the floor, the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, I expect them to shoot a lot better from 39.4% from the field goal range. After our circus season in the media at Alabama for Brandon Miller, I'm not shocked to see him start off slow in the NBA Summer League. He didn't have that good of a first half, but still finished the game with 18 points. But I expect the number 2 overall pick to put the team on his back here, same exact way that he did during the NCAA tournament. I mean, if there's a person that deals with pressure, it's definitely Brandon Miller. I got Charlotte win this game outright, and I lean towards the game going over the total. Some of the things that worry me on the Warriors side is Kiona's their point guard from Memphis. He shot 5 for 8 from 3-point land on day one. I don't think that happens again. So I think Charlotte shoots better. I think the Warriors regress a little bit, but this game could go over the total. I mean, these Summer League totals are way too low right now. It's a common theme that you'll see throughout the California Classic and the Salt Lake City Classic is since those are like the first sets of the games of the year, the bookies are trying to find what the right totals are on these teams prior to them going into the big Vegas tournament at the end of the week, which will get a lot more betting attention and TV views.
What did you want to make official here for us tracking your Premier League action?
I have the Charlotte Hornets in a 3-leg parlay.
Okay, cool. So I'll start a parlay and money line.
Yeah, money line in the parlay.
Okay. All right. That is Warriors Hornets. I did copy and paste the Tory Coker Summer League parlay as well, so we'll discuss that. Let's move on to the second game for Brizzy here. That is Memphis Grizzlies, Oklahoma City Thunder at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Take it away. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this game opened up at -5 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, went up to 5.5 immediately. And then the total opened up at 175.5. And that total got completely slammed within the first 2 hours of opening. And I still lean towards the over in this game. I don't mind people backing the Thunder here in this spot. The Thunder's last game, they went way over. They scored 59 points in the first half, but finished the game at 93. I think there's a lot of wiggle room with that number if this game stays competitive. Memphis scored 94 points in game one, despite starting off slow. I mean, they struggled guarding Sixers G League MVP, Jaden Springer, and Louis King. Chet and Kenny Lofton are going to be the two studs in this game. They're former Team USA teammates on the under-21 team. So Chet's always got more of the publicity, while Kenny has more of went through Louisiana Tech after that crazy run of the World Cup from a couple of years ago, and then has been a two-way player in the NBA. So I expect him to come out here and give Chet a run for his money. I expect them to go back and forth all night long. I mean, the Thunder starting five are fucking players that are in their actual rotation. Shit, Jalen Williams is probably the third best player on the actual team last year. I mean, looking at that Thunder Summer League team, that is not an average Summer League team. Holy fuck, that team is stacked. Like, they have Butler from Baylor coming off the bench, backing up Trey Mann. Trey Mann had 20-plus points in game one. They didn't even talk about him in the media. He probably had a SportsCenter top 5-10 dunk in that first game. I just expect a lot of points in this one. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, I mean, they have Timmy Allen from Texas. David Roddy was a key piece in their rotation for the actual regular season. He looked great in the Summer League, way more aggressive in the Summer League than what he did in the regular season. He shot 3 for 6 from the three-point lane in game one. He was the stud player for that team. I mean, the Thunder have a lot more length on the rest of the teams in the Summer League. So if you're taking note towards the Thunder spread, they're probably so big because they're just so much longer than the rest of the Summer League teams. But I think the Grizzlies have enough strength to match up with the length. One of those situations where Chet's out here blocking shots halfway across the court and shit like that. That's not going to happen against Timmy Allen and Kenny Lofton and David Roddy. I expect this one to be probably the second highest total. It has the highest total on the board, but I expect this to finish as the second highest total on tonight's Summer League card.
Is this part of your parlay?
Yeah, this is a part of my parlay, but this is also a straight bet.
Okay, so hit me with so the Thunder are part of your parlay?
Yeah, no, the over in this game is a part of the parlay, and that is also the straight bet.
And what is the number at?
I got 176.5, but I believe it's 177.5 currently right now.
Oh, it's all good. Over 176.5 is part. Oh, sorry, as part of. So that's Memphis. Okay, see, and it's also a straight bet over 176.5 here for Brizzy. Let me get this here. And okay, beautiful. All right, we are rolling Summer League action from our Billy Brisbane. Get Brizzy here. Okay, let's move on to the final spot on the board for you, Brizzy. We head back to Sacramento, Miami Heat at Sacramento Kings to close out your card. Take it away.
This is going to be the best game to watch on the card today. The fact that this total opened up at 175.5, that number got completely steamed right off the grip. Within the first 20 minutes of this total opening it up, it went up to 79.5 all the way up to 180 in some places, and then came back down to 177.5. And that is about the right number. I would still lean towards the over in this one. I have this graded as the highest pace of play on the whole entire slate. I mean, the Heat are showcasing players for potential trades and roster spots. If you look at a lot of these potential trades for Damian Lillard, it's a lot of Heat players that are involved, but all their bench rotational players are all gone. So it's more of these future players like Jacquez Jr. and Jovic who were electric in game one. Jovic looked like the second coming of Nikolai, man. I mean, they touched about him a couple of times throughout the regular season, didn't really get a lot of minutes throughout the regular season, but man, Jovic in the Summer League was electric. Jacquez Jr. from UCLA, he looked so much more mature than the rest of the players on the court. He was dunking all over the court, shooting threes. While the Heat might not shoot as well as they did in game one, their confidence is riding sky high right now. Both of these teams are going to be some of the better offenses that we're going to see throughout the summer. And any game that Keegan Murray of the Sacramento Kings is playing in, give me the fucking over. Keegan Murray, I would not be shocked if he's going to be the front runner MVP for the Vegas tournament next week. I mean, he had 29 points in game one, and it looked like he wasn't even trying to score. He looked so fluid, looked like he's gotten a lot better from what he did in the regular season. And a lot of these players are going to look a lot. If you see an NBA player playing in the NBA Summer League, they're going to be highly aggressive, and they're going to shoot a lot of shots. And I expect both of these teams to go back and forth. I mean, a lot of the Heat players right now, they're either fighting for training camp roster spots, or going to be involved in potential trades to get in Damian Lillard to Miami. And then on the Sacramento Kings side, while they don't have the same exact players throughout the regular season, their system is still the same for the Summer League. Run and gun. The Kings were the highest scoring team in the NBA, and I expect their Summer League team to follow suit. And I expect this game to soar way over the total. Every game on day one for Summer League went over the total by 10 plus points or more. I think that these totals are all way too low. These are fucking WNBA totals. You're telling me that the Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings had the same exact fucking total as the Dallas Wings and Las Vegas Aces? That's absurd to me. These Summer League totals are just way too low. Shouts to my girlfriend. My girlfriend, I was talking to her about this rant for day one, and she literally parlayed all the overs on the Summer League and put in a $15 parlay, hit for $115. So like, these totals are just way too low. They're all soaring over. I would get in now, because once this Vegas tournament starts at the end of this week and beginning of next week, totals are gone.
I feel you. I love it. I love that your girlfriend trusted you. That's nice. That's nice. Nice. My
she
wife...
fucking parlayed Sharpie's K props yesterday. Sharpie sent me his card yesterday for the 4th of July, and she parlayed all of his K props, clean sweep. So if you're not watching The Balkan Dead, man, I don't know what more you have to see. I've never seen somebody cash more on K props than that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So what? Oh, and I have a question for you on the Grizzlies Thunder game. But what is the spot here? You're on the over for this one?
Over. Yeah, over.
What's the number?
Over 177.5.
Over 177.5. Well, I have a 177 right here on my book. So over 177 here, and that's all. Oh, that's not a single bet though. That's just a parlay.
Straight bet. That would be my best bet of the whole entire. Out of the two cards for WNBA, NBA Summer League, the last game of the night, Miami Heat, Sacramento Kings, best bet of the card. And that will be the third leg of the parlay. I believe the parlay was 627 off the top of my head. Hornets, money line, the over in the – actually, no, it was the Spurs money line. I have two different parlays, one with the Hornets, one with the Spurs. And one was 627, the other one was 687. And
which one was it?
They both have both of the totals. And then one has the Hornets money line, and the other one has the Spurs money line. Spurs-Lakers game. The Spurs game opened up -4, went up to 5.5. Julian Champagne was the leading scorer on day one. I mean, for a team that didn't have their number one overall pick out there, Julian Champagne and Dominic Barlow combined for 54 points, shooting 57.6% for the field. The Lakers were one of the worst defensive teams on day one. They allowed the Heat to shoot 52% from the field and give up 15 three-pointers, along with them shooting 45.5% from the three-point land. So I think the Lakers are the worst team out of the 6 in the California Classic.
Which the Hornets, Memphis OKC over, and the Miami Sacramento over, that is the official parlay for us?
Yeah, you can put both of them on there. The Hornets, the 2 overs, and then another parlay was Spurs and the 2 overs.
And which one's 627? Which one's 687?
627 was the Hornets one. 687 was the Spurs one.
Spurs money line And okay. And then a question. So I think the question sort of, I mean, you've helped with the answer just saying that the Heat Sacramento is your favorite total on the board. But they're asking about this Grizzlies Thunder total because it's at 180.5 now. Is that too high to move on?
Honestly, it's not too high. Like, I really think that this total is just too low. I think the final score of this game is going to be probably like 99 to 94 or somewhere around that range. And I believe that will go over the total. I can either see one of these two teams even breaking 100 points. I mean, Oklahoma City Thunder are a team that's been accustomed to playing in the Salt Lake City Classic. They went 3-0 last year, soared over the total in all 3 games. And the Grizzlies team this year, I expect them to put up some points. They started off really fucking slow against the Philadelphia 76ers and still pulled away with the W in that game. It was a late competitive game, but they finished with 93 points and they damn near probably had like 20 or 30 points in like the first half. It was like really bad. They started off really slow. I don't think they will start off as slow. And all these teams had a day of practice on the 4th of July.
I love it. I love it, Brizzy. I love just hearing you talk about basketball. I can't wait for the big season ahead here at Pub Sports Radio, and we'll be tracking your Summer League action, your WNBA action, and all that. I love it. Daryl Turner says, "Yo, Billy Brisbane Lion says OKC Thunder got an NBA Summer League dream team."
Yo, facts though. That is the best. That's the best Summer League team I've ever seen. Like Jalen Williams, like, do you not remember we're on the show talking about Jalen Williams over on his like PRA and like the 3-point props? They play him in the Summer League game. He just looks like he's 10 times better than all the rest of the players on the floor. He's probably going to be the 3rd leading scorer on the actual team, damn near probably 2nd leading scorer on the actual team for the upcoming season with Chet back. So, I mean, that Thunder team's stacked.
I love it, Brizzy. Thank you for running with us. Tell us a little bit about the big podcast for tomorrow.
Yeah, big podcast tomorrow. UFC Vegas. No, not UFC Vegas. I'm not even going to try to say the name. UFC International Fight Week, the biggest week of the year. Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez for the featherweight belt. And then the co-main event for the flyweights, Pantoja versus Moreno. It's International Fight Week, the biggest week of the year for UFC fans. So we're going to be kicking it here on the channel. Make sure you tune in to all the podcasts. We got Clint on Monday. We got Brady, DFS by the numbers with Uncle Weezy with the DraftKings shows, the Stat Digger shows, and then followed up on Saturday with the Saturday live stream. And then Thursday, me and Mills and Big Show with the podcast. We've been dropping some winners. Me and Mills have had some intellectual heated arguments that have helped the bettors out. So make sure you tune in to see who's going to be the lock of the card for this week.
I love it. To answer your question, DC, the first half team total for the Liberty at Pinnacle right now is at 46.5. Juice to the under. It's plus money to the over.
I would lean towards the first half under. I don't think the Mercury are going to score a lot of points.
Oh, this is the Liberty team total.
Yeah, no, I just think like that game. If Brittany Griner is going under 20.5 points, and the Mercury don't have her scoring, then where the fuck are the points coming from? I think the Liberty are going to be real chill vibes in Brooklyn tonight. Day after 4th of July, I can expect them to just cruise and beat the shit out of the Mercury.
And big shout out to our guy, King Al. His friend's son is playing for the Spurs Summer League team, number 46, Devontae McCoy. So keep an eye out for Devontae McCoy. And shout out to our guy, King Al, in the house. I love it. Great stuff, Brizzy. I put your 2 parlays in the chat. You also have those totals individually. Then you have the links, first quarter money line. Thank you for taking the time to roll with us. My friend, love capping with you. So go out there, get that cash, and I love that your girlfriend's cashing too, man. That's fun. That's fun.
Let's go, baby.
Let's do it. Respect. Follow our guy Brizzy on Twitter, and he's also Billy Briz DFS over at Instagram. That is our show for today. Let's do a final review of action. Clint came in with the Die Hard MMA podcast, gave us his best bets. Here's 3 plays locked in for UFC 290. I'm gonna pop them in the chat for you guys. Thank you, Clint, for sharing them with us. There it is. That's the Die Hard MMA podcast. 3 plays locked in for UFC 290. Then we have a ton of action. So that MLB game popping off, I'm off Rockies, Astros, but spreading penny bombs on Kyle Tucker home run and RBI. Mally Mal tying the JP France 4 case. Oh, and the Astros team total over 4.5. I think I said that wrong off the top. So Mally Mal's parlaying the France 4 strikeouts and Astros team total over 4.5. Ragu's on the Tigers -1.5, -106. I still have some work to do on that. I'm with Jose. I'm hesitant there, but I might move on it. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today. Tampa Bay -1 +116 and razor sharp on Phillies money line. I'd be on the Phillies, but I'm going to stay off with those two guys button heads. Cardinals, Marlins, Marlins. I'm off. Has Matt's been announced? Let's go over to MLB here. No, Liberatore. Wow, that changes things. I'm higher on Liberatore than I should be. Interesting. The hip to be square play today from our Mikey M is Houston, Minnesota +108. Razor sharp picks on the Yankees. TJ's on the Yankees with the gift. Ragu's on the Yankees, and he's on team total over 4.5. Am I just leaving money on the table by staying off of it? Randy Vasquez concerns me. Ragu's on the first 5 under 5.5 in Cincinnati, Washington. I tailed it. I bet it. He got -116 here for record keeping purposes. I bet it -120. Mike M has the ribeye play today. Spencer Steer, and Troy Torrance says, don't forget to bet the Tigers. Oh, you're a good man. Thank you for the kind words, Troy, my man, and you as well, Justin McElvey. So Spencer Steer is the RBI play today, and also Spenny's on it, and he's on the Jack. Stimmy OG's on the Nationals. Peyton Weems on the Reds. Spenny is also on Matt Olson, Acuna, and Josh Naylor for homers. Londo's on Soroka to have 4 more strikeouts, 4 or more in Atlanta to win at +200. I'm off Atlanta, Cleveland. Ragu's on the under 10 in Texas, Boston. Spenny's on Josh Young, homer at +525, and the RBI +155. Morgan Spooner on Rangers first 5 -0.5. I'm off that spot. Stacks play today is Buxton over 1.5 bases from our guy Justin McElvey. Spenny penny bombs on Jared Young, homer +500. Weimer, homer +650. Mike M's on Yelich to go yard, double up spot, +240 for the RBI and +600 for the homer. I'm on the Cubs first 5 -0.5, -120. I'm nervous that the line's not moving. Look, I want to take the White Sox first 5. I really think that this Jays lineup is a perfect lineup for a pitcher like Lance Lynn. But there's a lot of weather in the forecast. I'm certainly not going to move on it right away. Mike M says Erod has numbers in his 27-0 spot, but wouldn't be surprised to see A's sneak it out. Interesting. In that White Sox game, by the way, Spenny's on 2 of the 3 lefty bats that'll be in the Jays lineup. Varsho for a homer, Kiermaier for an RBI. He's also on Andrew Vaughn, RBI, +170. Gavin Sheets, homer, +425. Pimp slot play today is the Toronto Blue Jays. Lance Lynn over 5.5 Ks for Rocco Rogers. Angels, Padres, we stayed off. Spending penny bombs on Lamont Wade, RBI +175. Joe Yurkovich on the Mariners, team total over 3.5. Ragu's on the Mariners, first 5 +0.5. And I'm going to be on the Seattle San Francisco first 300, 2.5, -115. I haven't bet it yet. Diamondbacks also -111 at Bet Online. I'd like to bet that as soon as possible. DC Capper, bookie buster play today's Arizona money line. Ragu's on the Pirates, team total over 3.5. I'm going to tail him on that. And that is our show for today. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. We have nothing without this chat. It's the chat that makes the show special. And you guys were on one today, as you always are. We're coming off a spectacular day. Remember, the key is to sweep the week. My goal, and it's embarrassing that this is the goal, but my goal is just to be, down single units on the season by Friday. After 5-0 day yesterday, we're -10.17 units on the season. So let's get in the single units tomorrow. Let's win every single day this week. And build confidence, because our last year, our second half was out of control. I want that again. Joey Marinaccio is on the Diamondbacks as well. Mr. Heat saying, yeah, there'll be some storms out here in Chicago. This is fun. I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to cap with you guys each day. Tomorrow, big day. Jose Bouquet and I will be capping MLB. Only one WNBA game, but I love having Brizzy come on dropping basketball, so I'll talk to Brizzy about everything. Let's go out there and get them cash, man. Let's go out there and get that cash. Thank you guys for your support. Alfred 44, BJ, Tori Coker, DC Capper, the Dapper Capper, Joey Marinaccio, AOD, Mr. Heat, Troy Torrance, Mike M, Justin McElvey. What a great group, man. Daryl Turner, Filthy Sticks, Prime VA 757, Mo Harris, Jack Rosenblatt, Saturated, Billy Friedrich, Mo Harris, Sharon Pulliam, Bankroll Spence, King Al, Drip, Skylark, It's a dope name, Drip Skylark. Thank you guys. G. Martinez, Demetrius, Alexander, Mally Mal, LJ from H-Town. Thank you guys all for your support. Real Deal Prime. Now let's go out there and get that fucking money. Milk these fucking bookies. Leche! Los bookmakers. Milk that shit.